All right, here we go. Today we have Clayton Howard, who was a male escort for Diddy and Cassie for 8 years. Clayton was one of 7 male escorts that the feds, in Diddy's criminal case, say was transported across state lines for the purpose of prostitution. He is currently suing both Diddy and Cassie for drugging, manipulating, and traumatizing him. Clayton Howard, welcome to Vlad TV.
Vlad, thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Well, everything started around 2009.
Oh, yeah.
How did this come together?
My story is a little unique from the other men in this. I wasn't a male dancer. I was an ex-con, had just been released from state prison, needed a job, but I was in great shape. I was huge. Girl I knew said, hey, you would be excellent working in the male industry as a masseuse and as an escort, and I thought she was like completely full of it. So she began to market me as a male masseuse, and ultimately I met Cassie.
Okay, so Cassie reached out to you.
Cassie reached out to her through the agency she had. It was kind of like independent. She just had a website with some guys, and Cassie must have saw my picture, I think through a collateral ad she had on like Backpage, I think it was at the time. And Cassie called the number and got the website, saw my pictures, rest is history.
Was it a phone call or a text message or what in the beginning?
They actually had a conversation, and from what I remember, Cassie asked her like for pictures of my penis. Once she got the picture, she wanted to know if it was real. She was really adamant about knowing if the pictures were real. The young woman assured her they was, and I guess Cassie's excitement was so great that immediately when this woman got off the phone, she calls me and she says, yo, Clay, check this out, I got one. She sounds like she's beautiful, blah, blah, and I didn't believe her. But when Cassie called me, her voice alone said that this one was going to be different.
Right. Now, of course, she's not introducing herself as Cassie.
No.
She was Jackie.
Jackie Star. Yes.
Jackie Star.
Jackie Star, the most obviously made-up name on the planet.
Right. And her husband was Frank.
Yes, but I didn't know about Frank on the first phone call. She never told me about him until maybe a half an hour into the first session. But once I was there and she checked to make sure my penal pictures matched the in-person version of me, she told me, hey, my husband's here, but don't worry, he's not gay. He just wants to watch. And at that time, I think I might have slept with like 4 women in front of their husband, because it's actually a really common practice for, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. So you were doing this already, this whole cuckold thing.
Yes, I had like maybe 4 clients. I was new to it. I might have been 60 days into being a male provider, as you call them. Mm-hmm. But I had a few women that I slept with in front of the husband, because, women are not like men. They can't just walk into a room and sleep with a random stranger, especially married women. So when they get older, the husband, for many reasons, he might just want his wife to have pleasure. He might get pleasure out of it. He may want to date younger women. So he'll introduce the wife to someone like me who's going to rock her world, take her away from the situation, provide her pleasure, whatever the ultimate goal of the situation was. So when I would deal with these women starting off, I would always have to do it with the husband present the first time, because the wife felt comfortable. After that, they would leave their wives with me for days.
Oh.
Yeah. Like a week was the longest. I think this guy named, won't say his name, left his wife with me for like a week in Manhattan, paid for an apartment, paid for me to take her around the city, dumped his wife on me for a week and was like, take good care of her, Clay, no problem. I did.
Okay. So were the men like masturbating while you were doing this, or they were just watching, or?
No, they would just watch. I couldn't even tell you if they masturbated or not, because I didn't pay attention to them. I paid attention to the woman. Okay. But for the most part, they would sit in the corner and they would just chill out.
Okay, so now you get to the hotel room. This was a London hotel?
Yes, the London hotel. Room 5001. I even remember the room number.
Okay, this is like a huge penthouse, right?
Yes, it was beautiful. It was beautiful, Vlad. You can overlook Midtown. It had like one of those those kaleidoscope pirate things from the ship, where you can like look around the city. The TV, I believe, came down from the ceiling. It was a duplex. It was an amazing suite.
Okay, so you come in, and how do things develop from then on in?
Well, first when I walked in, I kind of walked in and Jackie was behind the door. So when she came from behind the door, the first thing I noticed, I was like, oh my God, this woman is beautiful. I actually thought she might have been a transvestite. She was just like so perfect. I said, it's no way. It's no way I'm this lucky that this is actually a woman. Something's up with this. But she was a woman. She let me touch her. After I hugged her the first time, she said, open your pants, whatever. I did. Just from looking at her, once she opened the robe, I knew she was a woman. We talked. She offered me a joint. I smoked the joint just to get rid of the nervousness. She offered me a drink. I think she poured me like some Ciroc and Coke. We shot the shit for a little bit, just basically got comfortable. All of this might have taken 30 minutes. And then she told me about Diddy and the whole cockhold situation and the purpose why I was actually there.
Well, but she didn't actually tell you that it was Diddy.
No, she told me it was Frank Black. Her husband, Frank.
Frank Black?
Yes. Her husband, Frank.
Frank Black or just Frank?
Just Frank. I didn't find out Frank Black, and I didn't find out the last name until I started checking into rooms under Frank Black. Because every room I checked into, I checked in under Frank Black.
I'm wondering if this is a play off Biggie, Frank White?
It definitely is. Okay. Definitely is. I asked her and she told me.
Okay. That's weird. All right, so
you can't take Frank White, so he had to switch it up.
I guess you got to go with Frank Black because Frank White's taken. Okay, so this first session, you were there for like 24 hours.
Actually longer. I might have been there for a day and a half, maybe.
Day and a half?
Yeah.
How many times did you guys have sex?
A couple of times. Usually these things were like, sex was called a session, and well, during an encounter, we would have several sessions that had stages. So let's say during this day and a half period, I might have had 4 or 5 encounters with her.
Okay. Well, are you using condoms at this point?
Yeah.
Okay. And listen, I've talked to like 4 escorts now. You're number 5 on this list. The story has been the same every time. There's a lead up, there's rubbing of baby oil, touching, some oral, which ultimately ends in intercourse, and the guys would be asked to pull out, take their condom off, and bust on the stomach. And then usually Cassie would then run and bring it to Diddy. Is this pretty much what happened on the first night?
No. Actually, the first day, they didn't ask me anything about any semen, anything about any condom. They didn't ask for the condom to take with them. They just went upstairs, talked. Everything was pretty regular except the fact that I had like these multiple encounters with her for a day and a half. There was no weird stuff the first time. I don't think any weird stuff actually might have happened until maybe 6 months, a year into it.
Okay, and how much were you paid that first night?
Well, first, I think when I left the first time, she gave me around $6,000, but I told her she had to pay me again. So she ended up paying me maybe another $3,000. So I think the first encounter altogether, I might have got $9,000.
I mean, a guy fresh out of jail, $9,000 cash, no taxes.
Yeah. You see?
Pretty nice little payday.
See, you understand. See, That's why I like you. You're smart. You understand.
Right. And, I mean, of course, the Diddy thing is annoying, but having sex with a beautiful woman, $9,000.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of these wives that you were messing with were not anywhere near on the Cassie level.
No. They were respectfully 50-year-old white women, attractive in their own right. Most of them weren't. I only had one client who was huge from Australia. Oh, my God. She was like 500 pounds.
500 pounds?
Dude, it took a lot of mental effort. It took an ecstasy pill, and it took a Viagra to get that one done. And that's when I realized I need to quit. It's over.
Listen, you're more of a man than I am, because I would have pulled off the 500-pound girl thing.
I know how women feel when they touch a guy that totally disgusts them after that encounter. Like, I was holding myself in the shower. I was like, no, oh my God. I wasn't working right. I said, you know what? I think I'm done being a male escort. And I told Cassie, and they said, wait a minute, no. And this is when she made the offer to me after the orgy. Like, listen, you can just work for me. I'll pay you exclusivity. Okay. You show me your results, I'll show you mine. That's how it got started.
Okay. But on the first night, you guys are using condoms, so you guys aren't talking about STD tests and stuff like that. Well, 3 weeks later, she calls you back.
Yes.
Same situation?
Same situation.
Okay. Now, is Diddy like masturbating in the corner, or?
That's all he did. He would sit in the corner in the darkest part of the room he could with baby oil and a drink and masturbate.
Okay. But you're already used to this in a certain way.
In a certain way, I'm used to someone being in the room. And I've never had a problem being around people like with least clothes because I've always had a pretty good body. So beaches, everything like that, you get a lot of attention if you have a great body. So I've never had a problem being shirtless around people.
Okay. And this is what I've heard from all the other escorts. Diddy had a thing about eye contact, talking. You're supposed to pretend like he's not even there.
Yeah. Like how you're supposed to do that, I don't know. But he definitely you weren't supposed to look at him. You were supposed to pretend like he wasn't there. You couldn't talk to him directly. You had to talk through Cassie, which wasn't a problem because he acted so weird. Any normal heterosexual man doesn't really want to talk to a guy in a situation like that who's secretly masturbating in the corner because you're thinking to yourself, like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? So you don't really want to deal with him anyway. So it works.
Well, for 2 years, you had no idea that this was Diddy or Cassie?
No idea. I thought Diddy was a pimp, but I thought he was a I thought he was a higher standard of pimp who knew how to have his girls model and do things like this because he was intelligent. I could tell the guy was intelligent. But I never thought it was Diddy. Never in a million years would I have thought it was Sean Combs who was sitting in the corner whacking off.
And that's because he had a disguise every time?
Every time he would wear it wouldn't matter how hot the room was because we would have tea candles in there. Some of these penthouses would have fireplaces like the Gramercy Park Inn. They have a lot of fireplaces. And it would be hot in here. This guy he'd take the baseball cap off sometimes, but if you're in a room with a woman and you're having sex, you're not staring at the guy. So even when he take the baseball cap off, he left the shirt on his face, so I'm not staring at him like, yes, now I can see part of his head. I can make out who he is. I really didn't care.
Well, at one point, and this was covered in the Daniel Phillip interview, which you are a part of as well, they wanted you to have a competition.
Oh, yeah.
And you walked in, and Cassie and Diddy are there, and Cassie is having sex with who you find out later was Daniel Phillip.
Correct.
And you guys had a marathon competition, which you ultimately won at the end.
I did.
Meaning what exactly?
Meaning that Daniel ran out of gas and Clayton did. Because I was determined, like I was an ex-con, something like that, where when you come out, because my thing was drugs, but when you don't want to sell drugs anymore and you can go from selling rock, I guess, to cock, and they're paying you $9,000 to sleep with a beautiful woman, you're not doing anything, 6 on average, 5 on average. But I had some $14,000 payments. I definitely had a few 9s. Never got paid less than 5, except for one time. I think Diddy might have gave me $1,500 when he drugged me. But it was a great gig for an ex-con trying to get his life together. For once a month, you're guaranteed to get $5,000 just to bust this girl apart. And you enjoy doing it, no one's going to say no to that.
Are you still using condoms for the first 2 years?
Yes. I may have had unprotected. I can't recall because, it was like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But I want to be fair and say that she and I didn't have unprotected sex for 1.5 years at least.
Well, at one point, Cassie told you that her and Diddy were swingers.
Yeah, she did.
And what did she say exactly?
I just asked her. I said, this is something because I couldn't believe it, Vlad. I couldn't believe this beautiful woman was into this. She was clearly young. I saw she was highly sexual, and I just saw how I had been around this situation with married couples so much, and I had a friend who was a swinger. I would go to swinger events with him, so I kind of believed her, and he and her were swingers. I knew they were definitely into the lifestyle, so I started talking to her about it, and she says, yeah, we go to this club in D.C., and we go here in Miami, and then she actually started trying to ask me to go to clubs with her. But because of Diddy's reputation, I was like, absolutely not. Hell no, I'm not going to no club with you.
Right, because after the freak-off that Daniel was included in, now is Diddy.
Yes, because Daniel told me, yes.
Exactly. So now you also know that's Cassie.
Yes.
So now you're like, okay, here's this very public couple, because they're publicly together. They're going to the Met Gala and everything else like that. She signed a bad boy. Now you're into the situation, and I guess after you won the freak-off competition, they made you feel like you're the only one.
Yes, they did. They told me I was the only one for years.
For years?
For years.
Okay. And Cassie would film these freak-offs?
Cassie was the one who would really direct Diddy to get the laptop. I never saw a phone. It was always a laptop, and it was a pink laptop, which I later learned was her laptop. But basically the premise of it is she liked watching the videos later. And I actually watched her play with herself to a video of she and I having a freak-off. She seemed like it was authentic. She masturbated, squirted all over the bed, played with herself while she's watching the video. It was incredibly hot. I had to believe she was telling the truth if she just masturbated off of an old video. I never liked the videos. I told her, hey, listen, don't film me, because what happens if these leaks? No, don't worry about it. This is just for me and him. It's never going to be seen. We're going to delete it. So you can imagine when federal prosecutors told me they had me on 3 freak-off tapes. Really? Yeah, we had to lighten it a little bit because you're really dark, but it's you, Mr. Howard.
Was he filming it all or just her?
He would move it from time to time. Like, let's say she and I was engaged in sex and I might have been inside her, because that was like the whole thing. Once we really got to the unprotected sex, she wouldn't even want me to pull out. It was like, hey, just leave it in there. If you come, pick me up, carry me to another part of the room, have sex with me again. We actually created a game called Leave It In. Yeah, bro, I'm telling you, those inside those hotel rooms, it used to be some shit. I had to carry her around the room. If it fell out in any capacity, they would dock me. So for maybe
wait. So if some of the sperm Leaked out.
No, if I slid out of her, meaning if I got soft and I slid out of her, she would dock me. So I would have to carry this, talking to her. Like if Diddy's sitting in front of the couch with me, I have to have her like this and stay inside of her. If she wants a drink, I have to pick her up, stay inside of her, bring her to the kitchen to get a drink. This would go on for like an hour or two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are having, I mean, aside from the cuckold aspect, relatively normal sex.
Yeah.
But then she wanted some other stuff. King?
I didn't show the other stuff she was into. Like, I've never been a violent guy when it comes to sex. Honestly, if you're good in bed, you don't have to beat women up, them spit on them. You're going to make them come, you're going to make them come. So she would say, oh, choke me, talk dirty to me, call me a bitch, call me a whore, spit in my face. And I'm like, that shit is gross. I'm not doing that. So I want to say I was more sensual with her. And I think that's what got me over for so long with her, is that I wouldn't do those. I'd never pissed on her. Never. I thought that was disgusting, refused every time she asked me, made excuses. And then ultimately, like once I was cool enough with them, I said, hey, listen, if you want me to piss on you, I'm not going to have sex with you. She says, why? I said, because it's going to turn me off. I'm going to get soft. You want me soft? She says, no. I said, okay, so you got to make a decision. Do you want the piss or do you want dick? She said, all right, you don't have to piss on me. Diddy said, what did you say? She said, he don't got to piss. It turns him off. Don't worry about it. She never asked me again.
Well, during these sessions for these first few years, did you feel at all that Cassie was being forced to do this, was, scared of the repercussions if she doesn't do certain things, and a certain level of fear or uncomfortability?
No. The only time I saw them fight is when they would have domestic disputes. And it would really be because Diddy would get jealous. The first time I saw him hit her, like punch her in the chest with a 1-2, I think we were in the Essex house in Central Park. She was just trying to show me her breast implants, but he was in the bedroom. He heard us laughing and talking. He thought we were talking about him. Dude is incredibly insecure. So he came out and directly asked us, like, yo, what y'all laughing about? She said, oh, nothing. He's stupid. He didn't even realize I got breast implants. I said, she looks so damn good. I didn't look at her chest. I looked at her face, and I just kept looking at her face. So he kind of snickered, and he was like, yo, don't do no laughing with these guys when I'm not in the room. And I thought that was weird. Like, fuck you mean we can't laugh? She just is a regular conversation. And she said, like, she said something to him. I can't really recall what she said, but I recall what he did. He threw his hand out with a jab like the measurer and just turned over his hip and punched her square in the chest. She flew across the room. So just off instinct, being a 225 huge black guy, I said, the fuck is you doing hitting this girl, man? And I kind of like stood up to get at him. Vlad, I swear, I learned in this encounter that men exhibit power in more than physicality. It can be an aura. It can be a force. And Diddy got it. This guy literally looks at me square in the face and sits back in this love seat and says, what are you going to do to me? Just like this, like he's sitting on a damn throne. Never happened to me in my life, but something told me, don't touch this motherfucker. You about to fuck up. So I kind of looked at him for a second like the ball's on this guy, but what got me was Cassie. I remember this. I come from an area where I see women get hit, women fight back, even if they can't beat the guy. You motherfucker, you hit me. They're doing all this. Every woman I've ever seen in my life, a guy hits them, they're going to do something to, I guess, express the fact that they don't like being hit. Cassie just sat there quietly holding her chest, looking at me, and then looking at him, and then looking at me. And my interpretation was that she was waiting for me to be her hero. I didn't even know her like that. Clearly, this guy has you under wraps with the money. I could tell that immediately just from their situation, that this guy had money. I didn't know what the hell he did, but I knew he had a shitload of money, and this girl was into this money. So once I kind of saw that, I said, you know what the hell are you doing? I sat down, and I was like, you know what, let them deal with their domestic shit on their own. Wise decision. He stands up, he says, fucking room. She goes in the room with him. They're in there for a couple of seconds. I did try to listen to see if he was assaulting her, but I didn't hear anything. They were talking quietly. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but they were talking. Then he comes out the room maybe 20 minutes later. She acts like nothing happens. He passes me a blanket. He did apologize for me seeing it. He said, yo, I'm sorry you had to see that, which showed me he was a halfway decent person if he could apologize and just totally disregard the fact that I was there. But I never saw her in a situation where she did not want to have sex. She was being forced to have sex. He was compelling her to suck penis. None of that. She was always the one to initiate it and to go get him so she could initiate it.
Well, how many domestic violence situations did you see after that?
I want to say, again, it's a long timeline, but I want to say more than 5, less than 10.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw a lot of them.
So about 7 or so. 7, 8.
Yeah, I would say 7 or 8. I saw him kick her, mush her, grab her by her hair, grab her by her collarbone, slam her against the wall, kick her in her shin, punch her 2-piece in the chest. He might have hit her in the head for some reason. I remember that too, because the more you have to think about this stuff with such a long time span I saw them, I still remember things now that happened.
Right, because Daniel said that he saw 2 different instances. One that he literally saw her grab her by the hair and, drag her out and start to kind of beat her up. Another one where he heard it from behind the door. There was slapping and some whimpering and so forth. So Diddy was relatively comfortable with Cassie in front of other men.
Yeah. He's a DV abuser. Dude has a history of domestic violence abuse. He's been beating girls for 30 fucking years.
This is true.
And it's amazing that the media and people are pretending that Cassie's just this singularly central and special victim. No, she's not. She got into a relationship with a historically abusive guy who was like totally into domestic violence. She had to know before she got with Diddy he beat up women. Everybody knows he beats up women.
So at what point were drugs introduced?
I want to say after Daniel Phillip drugs were introduced. I went to her one day because I just saw how her and Diddy were responding to they were just up all the time. They never got tired. They seemed to go into the room, come out fresh. Me and her might have, I want to say 4 or 5 encounters, and every new encounter, she was coming back as the same, never tired, always the same, energetic, insightful, happy Cassie. So eventually I said, yo, what are you taking? She says, I hoped you would have asked. I'll be right back. She goes into the bedroom, comes out less than 5 minutes later. She shows me a purple E-pill, I remember. I don't remember what type, but I remember it was purple. I said, I don't take pills. She said, oh, no, don't worry about it. She takes it. She crushes it up on the counter. She makes me a drink. I said, don't give me that whole pill. She says, no, I'm just going to give you a piece of the pill. Don't worry. It's going to make you feel nice. It's going to make you feel subtle. The big thing for them was creating this whole vibe where everybody was on the same page, I guess, or the same mood. That's definitely what they called it, the vibe, too. So she gives me this pill, and Vlad, it didn't take 25 minutes. Everything just starts getting hot. All of a sudden, like, I fucking feel like I just want to have sex. Like, what's going on? What's going on? So she just attacks me. And I want to say for the next 3.5 days, I end up having like this incredibly hot, drug-fueled, ecstasy-fueled sexual session with her.
Now, were condoms used during this part?
No, she actually pulled it off in the middle of the encounter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you talk to her about STD tests?
It kind of happened while we were in the middle of it. So like while I was inside of her, stroking her, she kind of pushes me up, rolls the condom off, jams me back in her. We're men, Vlad. I'm pretty sure you've been in a situation like that.
Yes.
So once you're in, the biggest thing that men have, we get weak and we get stupid once we're in there.
Right.
I couldn't even think straight. I'm like, oh my God, I just done fell into heaven. Forgot Diddy was in the room. Only person that was in this room was me and Cassie fucking on the cloud. What brought me back to earth was Diddy saying, yo, you fucking him raw now? So now me and her, back on planet Earth, back in this hotel room, looking at each other in the eyes like, oh shit. She says, yeah, babe, I saw his paperwork. He's good. That bothered me.
Because you never gave her the paperwork.
No, I never gave her paperwork. I had a fucking girlfriend, and I was high having sex with this girl. So honestly, I fucked up. I shouldn't have had unprotected sex with her. But I was into it. I remembered my girlfriend as soon as she said this. Oh my God, I can't go home with this. Now I need to see this chick's paperwork. So I told Diddy, I said, yo, bro, she didn't see my paperwork, but I got paperwork. I'm good. Can I see her paperwork? I saw the anger in his face when I told him that she lied, but he was cool. He took it well. He's like, I appreciate that, Playboy. Yeah, show me your test results. So at the time, I think I was using Quest Diagnostics, real easy. You put your phone number and password in, it just come right up on the screen. That's what I did. Cassie, I remember, it took her 15 minutes to get these test results. But she did get results, and she didn't show me the name of the results. She just showed me like the what do you call it? The test for like herpes, things like that. And all the tests were negative. I'm high, I'm in a situation, I want to get back in the pussy, I'm gonna be honest. So I just scanned it, okay, good, no AIDS, good this, no good this, no good this, let's go. Diddy makes us start all over again. We have sex for at least the next, I want to say 2.5 days, no condom. I'm skeeting in her, put it on my stomach, come in me. That's really how, actually I'm jumping. They started collecting my semen a little bit before this, like asking me to put my semen in glasses, which,
wait. This is the new one. What, they'd want you to pull out and come into a glass?
First, it was take the condom off and put it in a glass. They would distinctly ask me to.
Oh, wait. You would come into the condom and then you take the condom filled
and put it in the glass. Yes.
In the glass.
Yes. She would bring me a glass, tell me to dump it in the glass. And Vlad, the perfect analogy is a kid who wants juice from his mom. And his mom has the juice bottle and the kid is behind her like, Mom, I want the juice. This is how Diddy used to follow Cassie for my semen in the cup. It used to fuck me up. To watch him behind her like, babe, you got it? And he's like on her shoulder like the fucking creepy witch from Looney Tunes like this. You got the semen? And she's just holding my semen in a glass like the Holy Grail, bringing it in the room, and then they just disappear in the room. For years, I wanted to know what they did with that semen until I heard it in the trial. I totally believe she was painting them. Totally believe it.
Well, yeah. But I'm saying if you have semen in a glass, there's a natural assumption that he's drinking the semen out the glass, right? It's already in a drinking utensil there, so.
But you don't really think it's the guy doing something like that. I'm thinking it was her doing it. Like, I'm thinking she's taking the semen and maybe doing something in the room for him. Never in a million years did I think he was using my semen.
Right. And then later on in the trial, you find out that she was rubbing it on his nipples.
Yeah. That blew my mind. Really, I always wanted to know for a decade what she did with that semen. Diddy was painting his nipples with it. Whoa.
Right. So chances are some of your semen ended up on Diddy's nipples.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel right now?
Right now, it doesn't make me feel good at all. Right now, it's kind of disgusting. But, it happened.
Well, I ask this with every escort that I've interviewed so far. In the words of my man Cameron, how's the pussy?
I actually commented on this, so I'm going to be respectful of her. The baby oil might have been what would stop me from getting the full experience of Cassie. Because, baby oil is a lubricant. It could have made her a lot looser than she actually is. But I want to say maybe, women are the same whether they're rich or famous. When you first see a woman, you think they're the most beautiful thing in the world. And eventually, after you sleep with them a long time, they become regular. So it got to a point between she and I where I wasn't even I would go in there and I'd be sleeping with her for days, Vlad. I might come once. Once, maybe.
Oh, maybe. So you would just come, you would just keep having sex without coming?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can imagine the blue balling experience off of that.
No,
yeah.
I've been there before. I've been there before. Okay. So you actually claim that Diddy and Cassie actually drugged you a few times after that.
Yes.
Explain.
Well, that was the first time is when she drugged me because she didn't give me half the pill. She gave me the whole pill, which she ultimately...
But although you did agree to take it.
Yeah, but I didn't agree to take that dosage, so that's drugging.
All right,
legally, that's drugging.
Okay, fair enough.
So she admitted it the next time. She said, listen, you're a big guy. Half the pill wouldn't have worked, so I gave it to you. She said, you didn't die. You're all right. And at the time, being dumber, being in the situation, I kind of blew it off. I always made sure I took drugs from her myself. If she gave me an E-pill, yeah, I'll take the E-pill, but give it to me. Let me figure it out. I'll take it. Fast forward a couple of years had to go by. Maybe, I think this was I want to say this was 2015 or 2016. I meet them in the Trump property in Central Park. I think it's South or West, whatever. The Trump International that's over there. Diddy's in there. As soon as I walk into the room, Cassie's in the bedroom. She's getting ready I think she had an appearance or something in Jersey or New York. Diddy's high out of his face. I want to say in 10 years of knowing this guy, I saw him sober one time, and that was the time Cassie overdosed. Every other time, he's high out of his face. He offers me this drug. He tells me it's MDMA. It was dust. It was like a lot of dust. There was some crystals, and it was in a bag. I remember that. But the MDMA I knew either came in pill form, like little capsules, or solid rock. So I said, yo, you sure this is it? He says, yeah, man, this is MDMA. Don't worry about it. Vlad, oh, my God. To this day, that had to be the worst experience I've ever had in my life of being drugged. He gives me this stuff. It might have took 15, 20 minutes. My stomach started hurting. I started sweating profusely. I fell to the floor, ended up crawling in the bathroom, throwing up for maybe 20, 30 minutes. Finally, once I stopped throwing up because I had nothing left in me to throw up, I go out. I can't stop sweating. I'm shaking. He sees me when he comes out of the bedroom. He says, yo, are you all right? Hell no, I'm not all right. I think whatever you gave me messed me up bad. Cassie sees me. What's wrong with him? Why is he shaking? Why is he sweating like this? Yo, he can't handle the drug. He a lightweight. This is what Diddy tells her. She says, yo, what did you give him? He said, I just gave him the pink shit. And I said, yeah, he gave me some Molly. She looked at him like she was pissed off. She said, yo, that's not Molly. And she just walked away. So I told him, I said, listen, I need to go. He said, all right. He gives me $1,500 And he said, yo, get in the cab, go right home. No fucking care and concern, like, you know what, let me tell somebody to put you in the cab, none of that. He puts me out, and I think I was like the 60th floor. I was on a high floor of the Trump building. Because I remember I was like so messed up and high and paranoid, I actually walked down the stairs of this building just because I didn't want to wait for the elevator.
Wait, you went down 60 floors?
I went down a lot of floors.
That's
I can't say it was 60, but because Diddy's in the penthouse suite, so he was on a higher floor. I walked down all of these staircases until I got to the bottom, and then I flew past the front entrance of the hotel, tried to flag a cab. I want to say the concierge in front of the hotel, they see me sweating in December, pouring sweat. They're staring at me. So I just start walking down Broadway. I walk from Columbus Circle to Union Square, which is like 14th Street. Okay.
Well, you touched on this. At one point, Cassie overdoses.
Yes.
Explain this whole situation.
This is the encounter she briefly discussed during the trial. Again, another situation. She comes into New York. First thing she says is, "What's up, sugar dick?" This is what she used to call me on the phone when she called me. Prosecutors are telling me she's a victim. This girl is calling me sugar dick. Okay, what's up? Can you come to Long Island? Yeah, I can come to Long Island. What time you want me there? Maybe 8 o'clock. Don't worry about it. I'll call you like 6. Just start heading out because I know it's like 2 hours out from you guys. Cool. I start doing exactly what instructed to do. I want to say maybe an hour into the drive, my phone's ringing. I pull over. She tells me they're going to come closer. They realize it's going to take me too long to get out to the Hamptons, so they're going to come closer. She's going to text me the address to a hotel. Cool. She texts me the address to this Holiday Inn that's off exit 38 on the 495 of I have an incredible memory, Vlad.
I just want to stop you for a second. The Holiday Inn is like a 3-star, 2-star hotel.
Yes, it is.
This is not exactly the London or even the Intercontinental.
No.
The Holiday Inn is getting close into the Motel 6 region there.
It is.
So why would Diddy and Cassie be in a motel? Is that even a hotel? It might even be a motel at that point.
No, I think that was a hotel, but it was like a low.
Not at the level of the London.
No, definitely. This is why I remember the situation so well, because the room was totally not what we're used to.
Right.
But Long Island doesn't have hotels like that along there where they could access that type of luxury.
Got it.
So they go to this Holiday Inn. I get to the Holiday Inn, the room was like $300-something, and I had $300 cash on me. And I couldn't use my card to pay for the room because I was in a relationship. My chick was all through my bank accounts. So I said, listen, I can't pay for this with this card. I got $300, so I'm gonna have to wait till y'all get here. I remember Diddy and Cassie walking in the lobby, and celebrity mode, he has the baseball cap shades on, she has the stuff on, and I'm watching them at the counter. And I'm watching the front desk person work with them, and I saw the second she realized it was Diddy. It was crazy. Like, I saw her, and then she was looking at him. She says, "Oh my God!" He's like, "Shh, shh." He told her like this. I saw him pass her something to like calm her down. They go to the elevator. A couple seconds later, Cassie calls me up to the room. So now when I get in the room, she's already on 10. She's like, "Yo, I'm so horny. I want to fuck. Let's go." Wow. Okay. She's like, "Hold on. I'm gonna get ready." Now we're in this, like you said, Holiday Inn, 3-star hotel. It's not the London. Small room, open concept, 2 twin beds on the side, bullshit bathroom.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of space. We're not in the London or those luxury hotels. Now we're in reality where normal people go to have these hotel encounter, these little shitty hotels.
Right.
So me and Diddy's looking at each other and we're both uncomfortable. Cassie's like, "Oh, you guys will be fine, smoke some weed, whatever." She immediately starts stripping, putting on her lingerie, putting on the heels. She's ready to go. She gets her little bag, because she always used to keep her drugs in like a little bag. She gets the bag, she puts it on the thing, she takes out a medicine jar, opens the medicine jar, starts dumping the powder in there. Diddy says to her, "Babe, that's too much." She said, No, don't worry about it. He said, "Yo, babe, you're taking too much." She says, "No, I'm good." Couple of seconds go by, she's still doing stuff. I'm trying to get comfortable changing, but the room is smaller. It feels different taking off my clothes in here with Diddy here and the room's being so small. It feels kind of weird now. So I'm hesitating on taking off my clothes. I don't want to really take off my pants because he's literally like 5 feet away from me while I'm doing this. The room is small. Cassie's taking the GHB while we're doing this. So I guess I was taking too long and maybe the GHB kicked in, but she was ready. She jumps up. She starts taking my clothes off for me. Okay, no problem. This is new from her. She seems like she really wants to go. She's like, "I'm so fucking horny. I'm so horny." So he said, "Babe, did you take that whole thing?" She's like, "Yeah, don't worry about it, baby. I'm good." She grabs the baby oil from the nightstand. She sprays the baby oil on me, starts rubbing it on my chest, kisses me on the lips. I'm like, "Oh shit, what's this?" So now she's incredibly passionate. She looks passionate. She looks different. Her lips are swollen. Her eyes are shining. Her breast and nipples are standing up. I'm like, wow, what the hell just happened to this girl? She's going like insane over me, rubbing me with the baby oil, kissing me, drops to her knees, starts giving me fellatio. Diddy says, yo, hold on, something's wrong. I said, hold on a second, brother. Let her finish. Let her go. So he was like, no, Clay, something. I was like, chill, bro. Just let her go because she's tearing me apart, Vlad. This beautiful woman's all over me, and I'm loving every second of it. Let her go, bro. Let her go. Because now I'm into it. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, she just starts going into convulsions. She stands up, starts going into convulsions, shaking all around the room. She's loud, making these weird, like, muffled noises. So he grabs her really quick, trying to restrain her. But he was putting baby oil on while he was watching this. So he has a bunch of baby oil on his hands and his body. So as he's grabbing her, she's slipping out of his hand like a damn fish. Now, mind you, she put baby oil over me. So I try to help him and grab her. I'm slipping. She's slipping out of my arms. So you got me being naked, him being half naked, and both of us trying to grab this girl covered in baby oil. It didn't look right. So he was the first person to say, yo, we bugging. We got to put our clothes back on and we got to get this baby oil off. All right. But I said, you know what? Let me throw her in the shower. Maybe the water will stop her, wake her up, snap her back to it. He says, all right. So I cut the water on. He's trying to restrain her. He still can't. I grab her while he wipes himself down with baby oil. He manages to hold her while I'm going back trying to get her. I pick her up, bring her to the shower, put her in the water. While she's in the water, she passes out. Whole shit. Yo, we need to call an ambulance. Do you know who I am? Hell no, we can't call the ambulance. What we gonna do? We gonna wait. So me and this guy wait. I want to say, Vlad, we waited in this shitty-ass hotel hoping this girl didn't die for like 8 hours, me and Diddy. Me and Sean Combs waiting in a Holiday Inn while Cassie's on another bed passed out from fucking taking too much GHB. We didn't talk much. We talked about sports. He asked me about my life, if I had kids. I asked him about stuff with him. He told me like blanket stuff. Not this. We didn't build a trusting bond where he started telling me his life story, but we got to know each other because before this, he did not like me. But after this night, after all of this happened, he gained respect because I could have left him, but I didn't. I stayed there. I held him down. He appreciated the fact that I stayed to wait to make sure she was okay. I want to say 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, I say, you know what? Let me try to put her in the water again. I strip out of my clothes, pick her up, put her in the shower. She wakes up. Hallelujah. She's not dead. We're both happy as shit. She needs Pedialyte, things like that, water. I volunteer to go get the water by climbing out of this second-story Holiday Inn, shimmying down the side of the building from the concrete awning that's always over those shitty Holiday Inns.
I mean, why not just go downstairs and go to the lobby?
Because of all the noise she made the night before, he was afraid that the hotel and the paparazzi would be outside waiting for us to come out the room. So they suggest that I go out this platform, me trying to be fucking like, I'm down for whatever. Yeah, guys, I got you. I'll just shimmy down the side of the building.
You're Spider-Man, basically.
I'm Spider-Man. I'm Spider Idiot. Let's just say that. I'm Spider fucking Idiot. I'm going to shimmy down the side of this building. But it did work. I was able to do it. Fall into the bushes, go to my bike, go to the store, come back. Now, when I get back, I go in through the front of the hotel to lay out the hotel. No one's there, so we're safe. Walk right to the room, knock on the door. Yo, we cleared. Nobody's in the hallway. So now we get in there. She's laying on the bed. I'm talking to them for maybe a couple of seconds. We're recapping the night. She said, oh my God, what happened? I'm telling her, like, yo, you were fucked up. We thought you were going to die. She's telling me I'm her hero. I saved her life, thanking me for not leaving her. I'm exhausted, Vlad. It's been hours. I hadn't smoked no weed. Diddy was sober. First time I saw him sober in years. This guy's sober. He's yawning. He's tired. He's like, yo, man, I'm ready to go home. This has been a hell of a night. He gives me a wad of money. Hugs me, yo, bro. Tonight we became brothers. Thank you for not leaving me. It was like, I could honestly say it was a male bonding experience because we did go through the experience. She did OD and we all came out of it all right. So I'm like, okay, you know what, cool. This guy's all right. He's human. He's not a total asshole I thought he was for the last 5 years because it had been about 5 years at this point. I'm walking out the door. Cassie says, where you going, sugar dick? What'd you say? You're not leaving, are you? Yeah, I'm leaving. Why are you leaving? I'm ready to go. What? Listen, I was asleep. I'm not tired. You guys are tired? Yeah, babe, we tired. This is what Diddy tells her. Babe, no, don't let him leave. I'm good now. I want him to stay. I want him to stay. Diddy tells her, he says, yo, come on, baby, I'm tired. She says, yo, if you just start partying, you'll be fine. You know, once you start partying, you'll be fine. He said, true. He says, well, Clay, what you want to do? You want to stay? She needs some dick. So now it's all in my corner. If I'm going to leave, they're going to blame me. I'm kind of peer pressured to stay. I'm looking at her. She's playing with her nipple. I'm like, all right, I'm going to stay. So I end up staying another 12 hours and having sex with her again.
So after she OD'd.
Yep.
And she actually admitted, yeah, I just OD'd.
Yeah.
That she, not Diddy.
Yes.
No force, no, listen, I don't care. you got a pulse, go have another freak off. No, he wanted to go home, and she said, no, I want to have another freak off.
100%. And I told this to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Said, no. This happened, and she still wanted to have sex after it. Diddy wanted to leave. She's the one who wanted to have sex. They said, really? Maureen Comey just took notes. That was it. So you can imagine how I felt listening to her, reading her testimony and hearing her say after this overdose, where Diddy and the male escort freaked out because I OD'd all night. Diddy made me have sex. No, the hell he didn't.
Oh, so she actually told the story.
Yeah.
Falsely.
Yes, she lied under oath. I will totally say it for you. She totally lied under oath and said Diddy made her have sex with me. And that's where I started to say, no, you know something? This girl's a liar.
Well, in 2013, you claimed that you got Cassie pregnant?
Yes.
Okay. How do you know that?
Well, let's be fair, because no man really knows, especially now we know she was sleeping with 36 male escorts. It might not have been mine. But why I believe it was mine is because she told me. I want to say it might have been October of 2012. I was on parole, New York State parole at the time. But I had a job, I had a career. I wasn't actually a man whore anymore. The only person I serviced was Cassie and Diddy because Cassie paid me so well. I was actually an optical assistant trying to get an optometry license. I worked in Midtown Manhattan, I think it was 61st and 3rd or something like that. So I had a career, profession. They called me one night to the Gramercy Park Inn, I even remember. And they called me in. She and I have sex this night. Ecstasy's involved, of course. We have sex for maybe 2 days, I want to say 3 days. When I leave this encounter and I'm going home maybe 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, by the time I got home and pulled in front of my house, my parole officer was there. So when I pull up, my parole officer's there. My parole officer didn't even know I had a car. I pull up with this 2013 Dodge Charger, brand new. My parole officer is driving a Corolla. He says, holy shit, is this your car? 5 o'clock in the morning, I can't lie, the car is in my name. I said, yeah. He says, how can you afford this car with your pay stubs? Now I have a problem, Vad. So now my parole officer doesn't trust me. He thinks I'm selling drugs. For the next couple of months, he kind of just has me coming in once a week, all of this other stuff. And I'm thinking I'm working towards avoiding the violation. However, one day in December, I go in, they say, hey, stand up, turn around, you're going with us. They take me to Rikers Island. They violate me for this curfew violation 2 months before. So I'm on Rikers Island, and I hear the radio. I think it was Miss Info from Hot 97. She's like, oh, congratulations to Diddy and Cassie. Cassie's 2 months pregnant. I was happy for her, Vlad. I knew she wanted kids with Diddy. I was like, oh, shit, they having a baby? That's what's up. I'm in the bunk in Rikers Island. I'm happy for the chick. I was a little sad because I realized pregnant and with a baby, I might have to stop sleeping with her. They might fire me, but, at least they had kids. I'm not a hater. I'm happy for her. Lights out, they cut off all the lights. I got to go to bed. I wake up a few hours later to go to the bathroom. And as I'm walking back across the dorm room to where my bunk is, I said to myself, wait a minute, you had sex with her in October. And that just kept bothering me. So eventually I started to think to myself, wow, imagine if this is your baby. But I was on a parole violation. So I stayed on this parole violation, I want to say till May of 2013. And as soon as I got out, the first woman I hit was Cassie. I called every number she ever called me from, yo, what's up with you? What's up with you? What's up with you? I want to say a week went by, maybe a week and a half, and she called me back oh my God, where have you been? I told her I was on a parole violation. She says, why didn't you call? Why would I call you guys from jail? She says, yo, listen, I need to talk to you. I'll be in New York in a week and a half. We need to meet. Cool. I go meet, she comes to New York, I want to say maybe a week and a half later. I meet her at the same hotel, the Gramercy Park Inn. When I get to this hotel, Diddy answers the door. And soon as I walked in and he closed the door, he looks at me. He's like, yo, Shorty was looking for you, bro. She got to talk to you. But the way he's saying it, it's kind of obvious that she got something important to tell me. So he's like, yeah, she got to talk to you. Yo, baby's here. Cassie comes out, gives me a big hug, brings me to the living room, sits me on the couch. And she's like, yo, what happened? So as we start talking, I tell her what happened, the parole violation, why I got parole violated, why I was there, what happened, where they sent me, which to some military boot camp shit called Willard. After I tell her all this, she says, well, yeah, I got pregnant. And I said, yeah. Now, I didn't insult her to ask her if it was by me, because clearly she's telling me she thinks it was by me. And she says, I was looking for you, but when I couldn't find you, I ultimately made the decision to get rid of it. She starts crying, Vlad. She goes through the whole thing women go through when they have abortions they don't want to have. So
so she had an abortion.
Yeah, she had an abortion.
Not a miscarriage.
No, not a miscarriage. Yeah, she had an abortion. So she told me. She started crying, held her, cried with her a little bit, you know, teared with her a little bit, because I was sad. I had no kids at the time. And, you know, as much as I don't want to say I was in love with her, I definitely had feelings for her. There's no way you can't have feelings for a woman sleeping with them with these drugs that totally alter the sexual experience. So I was bothered by it. But, you know, after the whole drama of the situation went on, I thought it was time to leave. So I'm getting up to leave, and she says it again. Hey, sugar dick, where you going? It's been a while. We're not going to rekindle? And I said, well, I thought that it was over. She says, no, I'm okay now. You know, that won't happen again. I got God, what do you call those tubes that go in women?
Yeah.
IUD.
Yeah.
She says, no, I got an IUD. Like, I'm good now. And we have another encounter. And for the next, I want to say 4 years, 2-3 years, we still keep having unprotected sex. Like, we never missed a beat.
Well, that next year, 2014, you claimed that Cassie raped you.
It sounds crazy, but yes.
Now, you are what, 6'3"?
Yes.
225 pounds?
I was about 220 at the time,
220.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Cassie is what, 5'2"?
About 5'7", I want to say.
5'7", okay, my
140, 140. She's kind of bony.
Okay, so basically half your weight, significantly smaller.
Yes.
This is not a female MMA fighter.
No,
this
not
is
at all.
Clarissa Shields, who might be able to knock you out.
No, Bridget.
A little frail. I mean, I've met Cassie before.
Yes.
I've had conversations with her. Pretty sure I could take her. You know,
I think you could too.
if it turned into a fist fight. So explain to me how a big man like yourself was raped by little Cassie.
Okay. So rape is such a harsh word. What I'll say is she inappropriately forced herself on me. And in terms of rape can be classified as anything. You understand when someone forces themselves on you without your consent, if you say no at any point during that encounter and they keep going, that's rape. Cassie was on her period during this time, and I didn't know. So normally you've interviewed 5 escorts by now. You know the freak-offs all had
the fifth.
Fifth,
Yeah.
yes.
I'm
so
like Thanos, you know what I mean?
You got the Infinity Stones
Yeah,
of male
I got my
prostitutes.
Infinity Stones here on my glove.
So normally all these things were candle lit with like the little tea candles, the fireplace, the romantic lighting, the red lighting, etc. This time, however, the room is totally dark. Drapes are closed, everything. I walk into this room. Diddy tells me, you know, she's mad at me because she was mad at me. She was mad at me because I had a girlfriend and I wanted to stay in New York for my anniversary with my real girlfriend. It's like you got a boyfriend and you're mad at your male provider because he won't drop his girlfriend and fly across the country to have sex with you. I didn't believe she was, but Diddy said, yo, she's angry, she's a little drunk, you know, it's going to be all right. So she comes into her room, she barely speaks to me. I'm trying to be like charismatic and funny, the way I always am with her. Make her laugh, make her feel good, whatever. She starts off like kissing me weird. She starts really strong, really aggressive, which is not like her. But in any event, she manages to like push me by the couch. She pins me on the couch. It kind of was like one of those situations where a woman's trying to take you. As a man, you're going to go with it at first because you're like, all right, this is different. This is kind of cool. So she manages to get my shirt open, get my pants down. She's giving me some head, some fellatio. She's basically buttering me up for what she wants to do. Now we get to the couch. We get on the couch. She kind of gets on top of me. The couch was one of those like bucket couches where you fall into the couch. So now as she's straddling me, she kind of has me pinned to the couch. I'm trying to get up. I can't get up. And if I just use my strength and throw her up, it looks weird with Diddy standing right there. So I'm kind of like trying to adjust her because it just doesn't feel right, you know? She reaches down. She kind of like sits on it. Oh, so again, like once as a man you enter a vagina, you lose control of your legs and your brain. You don't really know what's going on for a second.
Right.
So I'm in this situation and it feels amazing, like she's going, but it feels weird. It doesn't feel like inside of her, doesn't feel the way it normally felt. I can't say it felt kind of like pasty. It felt weird. I'm trying to push her up. I'm like, hold on a second, hold on. And she's just grinding harder. It may be a little embarrassing to say for her, but she always came really quick. Like it didn't take her a long time to come. I could make her come in under 20 strokes. Oh, she's squirting all over the place. This is what she does this encounter. She kind of gets weak after she comes. Now she's weak. I push her off me, stand up, cut the lights on. Blood all over the place. What the hell is this? Oh, no, my period must have came when we started. No, baby, it's way too much blood for your period to have just started now. Vlad, you're a man. We know. Mm-hmm. We're not stupid. So I'm angry. I'm like, did you just fuck me on your period? Oh, relax. Come on. It's not like you've never had sex with a woman on your period. Totally disregarding me. I get enraged, you know, and I think Diddy sees this. So when he sees this, he kind of steps in. He says, yo, you know what? Calm down, Playboy. Calm down. You got a right to be mad. He brings her in the room. He comes out quick. They weren't even in there 5 minutes. He comes out. She's leaning against the wall when she comes out like this, not saying anything to me, just looking at the wall like, fuck you. And he says, you know, she's drunk. We had a long day. She was a little mad at you. He said, I'm not going to lie to you. She knew she was on her period. She should have told you. He passes me a stack of money. So I'm looking at her, waiting for her to say something. She says absolutely nothing. He apologizes to me. He says, yo, I'm sorry because I'm a man. I get that. That was kind of foul. He said, listen, we booked you a suite. Go to the suite, get some sleep, relax for the night. We'll call you in the morning. Let her calm down. You calm down. Y'all been doing this too long. Y'all really gonna stop fucking with each other for a misunderstanding? And he's like trying to mediate it between she and I because he sees I'm pissed off and she's like, fuck this guy. He wanted to, I guess, dead me for some basic bitch's ex-girlfriend, so I'm gonna just violate him by fucking him on my period. I believe totally that was her attitude.
Well, to be fair,
Yeah.
I've had sex with women on their periods. It's not my favorite thing to do. I don't want to do it if I'm given a choice, but I've done it before.
Yes.
I don't find it to be a huge deal. You know, you just shower off afterwards and you're done.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yes.
not like it's a torturous activity. Like I said, I've probably done it, you know, dozens of times.
But
easy.
that might have been a woman who you either knew she was on her period and you just wanted some ass so bad. You're
yeah,
like, you know,
exactly.
I didn't
she
know.
would tell me she's on
Yes.
her period. I'm like, all right, let's do it. I don't care. Whatever.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
Consent.
Let's put out some towels on the bed
Yes.
so we don't mess the bed up. We'll have sex, then we'll both go shower.
And we'll go in, exactly. But
Right.
Cassie didn't give me that. She basically went, misled me into thinking she was regular. And she puts, like, it's disgusting. I don't even like to talk about it. But at the time, I didn't actually realize that could be considered a sexual assault.
So that's sexual assault?
Yeah, that's a sexual assault, 100%.
Okay.
You're on your
All right, if
period.
you say so.
Hey,
I guess I've been sexually assaulted then.
yeah. Well, if they don't tell you and they do something,
Well, no. It's always been, with me,
you have consent. They're
there's
telling
consent, or at one point, I mean, you do have situations where the woman doesn't realize she's not on her period, but it's not a whole ton of blood.
Yeah.
You're right. If it's a ton of blood, that means that
They
she's
knew.
been flowing for like 3 days.
you. For like 3 days at least. So
Yeah,
she knew.
exactly.
And once I thought about this, once I talked to prosecutors, once I talked to attorneys, the attorneys that the U.S. Attorney's Office provided me are the ones who let me know I was sexually assaulted. They said, that's a sexual assault. I said, really? They said, look it up, Clayton. You're studying the law. That's a sexual assault. I looked it up. They were right. I said, oh my God, that's a sexual assault. Now the prosecutors know this happened. Nothing about it. They said, you know what, Mr. Howard? She was doing a lot of drugs at the time. What? How do you justify drug use by this woman doing that? And then you're telling me that Diddy can't use the fact that he was on drugs as a defense? Absolutely not.
I'm trying to look it up. I can't seem to find whether a woman having sex with you on her period is sexual assault. I'm
I
not
looked it up
saying
on
what you're saying
LexisNexis.
It's not true. I'm just doing some Google searches. I couldn't find anything. But listen, if this is what your lawyers are saying, this is what your lawyers are saying. Now, this next year, 2015, you claim that Cassie gave you an STD.
Yes.
Chlamydia.
Yes.
Now, I assume Cassie was not the only woman that you were sleeping with. I didn't
I had
think
a
you guys have
girlfriend.
a monogamous relationship based on what you thought.
No, I had a monogamous relationship.
With
she
her?
was with my girlfriend. I had a girlfriend.
Right.
Cassie was the only woman I was sleeping with besides my girlfriend at this point.
Right,
I wasn't a man whore anymore. This was 2015, so I think I had stopped 3 years before that. The only client I had this entire time was Cassie because I had a girlfriend, I had a career, wasn't it?
But to be fair, you want to say, you know, every man wants to think, you know, that their girlfriend's not cheating on them, but you don't know.
My girlfriend came up clean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like it's.
All right.
I
That's a
thought
good
of all
point.
of that.
Yeah,
I
no,
thought
you're
of,
right.
of
That's a good
literally,
point. You got me on that.
literally.
Yeah.
Because I needed to know. So unfortunately, like I had to wait, and I had to wait I think I had to wait like 2 weeks after I found out, and it took me 2 weeks to convince my ex-girlfriend to go get what do you call it, OBGYN check.
Yeah.
It took me 2 weeks to tell her to go to the doctor. Like, yo, you should go to the doctor. When's the last time you got a checkup without blowing myself up that I wanted her to find out if she had an STD? I said, you should go, because we were actually trying to have a baby at that time, I remember. So I'd tell her to go to the doctor. She goes to the doctor. She comes back happy. Oh, babe, I'm fine. So now I know she doesn't have anything. Okay, it was Cassie. Here's how I know it was Cassie. So I see Cassie maybe, I want to say 2 months later, maybe a little under 2 months later, I see her. And when I walk into this thing immediately because of the chlamydia scare, I'm like, I'm going to use condoms. So walk in the room, I pull out a condom. Diddy says, what's that for? I say, and she says, no, babe, it's okay. He can use it. The chlamydia thing. She says, I meant to call you and tell you, but I came up with chlamydia. I think Sean cheated on me, and Diddy didn't say anything, but she tells me I should go get tested. Clearly, I was not happy when she told me this. I directly told him, I said, you know what, listen, I don't even think I can stay now because I kind of knew it was her who had done it. I left. I don't think I saw them for 6 months after this encounter because I wouldn't see them. They would call me. I wouldn't answer the phone. But life is life. You get broke. One day she called me about 6 months later. I went back because I was broke. She and I spoke about it. I said, yo, let's just use condoms for the rest of the time. And I never had unprotected sex with her again.
Well, I had said this over time, and people want to get on me, but you essentially mimicked what I've been saying. And I've always said that Cassie doesn't really have a lot of singing talent.
No.
She had one hit song that was written by Ryan Leslie. There's probably a lot of auto-tune involved. And since then, and I know people at Bad Boy Marketing that said that they try to push her music as hard as they could, just like every other artist on Bad Boy, but it really was not taking off. And there was a situation where she wrote a song called Addiction, which she said was about you. My man French Montana's on the song as well.
Yeah.
And you actually had a chance to hear her sing that song.
Yes, I did.
And how did it sound?
I would say the best experience was watching her naked, beautiful body on top of me while she sung it. She didn't sound good. This is not to take anything from her. She's not one of those type of singers. She can sing, I guess, with the computers and the studio effects, but live performance, it wasn't one of those things that stuck out. I remember, wow, she has a beautiful voice. It was just like, oh, wow, she might have really sung this song, because when I listened to the words of the song, it's basically what she's doing in the freak off. So it kind of correlated to me like, wow, she might not be lying, because this totally sounds like the way she treats me in freak offs. But the quality of her voice, not to disrespect her, I would say no. It's just, it wasn't there.
Yeah, he said, as much as I cared for Cassie, I got to be honest, she couldn't sing.
Yeah.
In the movie I saw her in Step It Up, I could see she wasn't a skilled actor either.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's done live performances that people were like, oh, this is awful. And, I think a lot of this, because people like to paint the situation as, here you got this talented young artist and Diddy purposely kept her back and kept her down. When my whole thing was like, no, Diddy actually gave her more chances than she deserved based on her talent level. She was never going to be a Mary J. Blige. She was never going to be a Mariah Carey. She was definitely not going to be Whitney Houston.
And that's who I'm comparing to her two singing. So it's excellent, shoot, because that's who I'm thinking. When I think of singers and Diddy, I'm thinking of Mary J. Blige and Mariah Carey. She wasn't that
Total,
caliber.
like you could pick a lot of different female singers that Diddy has worked with in various capacities.
That can sing.
That could really sing.
Yes.
With or without Diddy, doesn't matter. They're going to have a big career regardless. Her career was kept alive because she was having sex with the boss.
Yes.
With the owner of the record label. She, at the end of the day, when Cassie eventually left Diddy, there was no bidding war.
No.
In terms of labels wanting to sign her.
No.
Nobody wanted her.
Nobody cared.
Nobody cared because at the end of the day, she was a pretty girl. I get that part, but being pretty doesn't equate to musical success most times. Now, you could be like a Britney Spears where you got a star quality, and you're also this great dancer and so forth, and the singing could kind of be tweaked a little bit, but Cassie wasn't even a performer.
No.
She couldn't dance, she couldn't sing, she couldn't act. She could fuck the boss.
Yeah.
She's good at that.
And fuck the people he found for her to fuck. That must have been it.
And basically, from your point of view, and you're agreeing with everything I'm saying, that's why she continued to be in the music industry. I don't think that he was dangling this carrot in front of her. I think she realized, I'm not that talented, and this is the only person that's going to allow me to at least have a chance.
Yeah. And here's the thing, in fairness to Diddy, I heard him ask her many times, what's going on with your music? What's going on? And she would give him bullshit answers like, oh, I'm not really feeling right. A few times I heard him ask her, what's up with Ryan? And I assume that was Ryan Leslie. Oh, yeah, I called him, we're working. Like, to be fair to him, over the years, I heard him ask her several times what was going on with her music. Several times. So I can't, if someone were to tell me like he was oppressing her career, I can't say that because I heard him express interest in her career several times and her give him bullshit answers. she wasn't feeling inspired, or she was, she wasn't up to it. She was going to try again in a couple of weeks. And she would literally defer him away with answers that she wasn't working. So I don't think it was him at all.
Yeah, I agree. The whole concept of Diddy was trying to hold her career back was ridiculous.
It didn't benefit him to do that.
Ridiculous.
It benefited him to make money off her, especially if she could make money.
I am almost positive that Diddy lost money on her as an artist.
I would say
a
so.
lot of money.
I would say so.
She had one song.
I would definitely say so.
Yeah. And she had features with everybody, including Kid Cudi and French Montana. These are not free features.
Yeah. Rick
Diddy's
Ross.
having to bankroll, all these.
All of them.
They want their money up front. They're not going
Fabulous.
to take backhand on that. They're like, no, we're not going to.
No.
If Drake wants to feature, we're not going to charge and take a backhand. But
Yeah.
with Cassie, you got to pay us up front. I
Yeah.
know how this works. Okay. Now, this whole time, you're having these sexual relations with Cassie and Diddy being around. Was there any gay things that were happening with Diddy outside of the whole come in a glass and that type of stuff?
For the most part, he was pretty straight. I only had one encounter with him where I could say he did some real gay shit. One. And I checked him on it. He never did it again. But for the most part, he was pretty he would stay in the corner. No gay stuff. He would never touch me. The most he did other than that was he smacked me on the chest one time. He was like, yo, you got a beautiful fucking chest. I was
That's different.
That was a little weird. I had the baby oil on. And I was glistening in the sun in Miami. He was Pap slapped me on the chest yo, you got a fucking awesome chest. And I was like, whoa, too much. And I just kept walking.
Okay.
He left it alone. But the gay thing he did, I was this may have been 2016. They called me to Miami for Ultra Weekend. So I'm in the SLS hotel. I go meet them in this beautiful penthouse that overlooks the Miami beach. I walk in there, it was protocol when I walked in. I would have to strip down to my shimmies, put all my clothes in the corner. I think at this point they trusted me enough where they had stopped taking my clothes, but they would always take my phone so I couldn't record. But anyway, I'm walking around the street. I got boxes on. I'm oiled up. So being in shape, I guess I look great to them. Cassie goes in the room to get ready. He's sitting on this piano because there was a grand piano behind the entry doors to this suite. Passes me a joint. He and I are smoking a joint. And as he's talking to me, you know how you can tell someone wants to ask you something? He just keeps going, I said, what, man? So he was like, no, don't worry. But I said, what the fuck do you want? He says, yo, man, you like men in any way? I said, the fuck is that supposed to mean, dude? Are you fucking serious? I said, you're joking, right? And he just sat there with a straight face. I said, yo, this motherfucker done lost his mind. I said, why would I like men the way I be fucking your girlfriend? That's fucking retarded. Where are you? And I start cursing him out, Vlad. People. You could say, why would I like men? I'm fucking your girlfriend, but you're fucking the girlfriend with a guy masturbating right there in the corner. So, that's not really too big of a jump. It is a jump.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
It kind of is because he's paying me to do it. It's not like I want to be there.
I get it, but you're agreeing to do it.
Okay, that's true.
Okay?
That's true.
Me personally,
Yeah.
Diddy couldn't really pay me, to fuck someone while he's jacking off in the corner.
But you're Vlad. Your financial situation's okay.
Yes.
You're not even
I
in that
guess if
position.
I was broke, maybe I'd consider it.
Maybe if you were broke, younger, you got this beautiful hot girl.
I get you.
Nobody would have.
But I would feel like I'm kind of doing some quasi-gay shit in the process.
It was weird. I'll definitely tell you it was weird. It was weird the whole time.
Yeah,
I will tell you. I'll keep it 100. It was weird.
Let me tell you like this, right? I've talked about this before. I remember the first time I had a threesome with a girl and one of my homies, right? It was just something that just happened, spur of the moment. We all just kind of ran with it. I realized at that moment that I am definitely not gay. Because, even though we were on either side, and we know what I'm saying, we weren't touching, he was getting some head, I was hitting from the back, we would switch, whatever else. The whole time I was wishing he wasn't there.
Yes.
That's what's going through my head. I'm doing my best to block out my friend out of this situation. I never came.
Yeah.
And I really was not trying to do this type of stuff again.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, I'm definitely not into men at this point.
And I went through that with Diddy because honestly, I never liked him in the room. That's kind of what prompted me to start taking the drug because the drug helped me kind of forget about Diddy and focus only on Cassie.
Okay.
But other than that, he always bothered me. I remember asking her to ask him to leave the room so we could start the encounter. Because it was creepy. Vlad, here's the truth. He used to crawl on the floor and peek around corners of the wall to watch me have sex with Cassie. Like literally on all fours, and then peek around the corner like this to see if he could see me have sex with her, or use the mirrors in the room to try to angle himself off so he could watch outside the room. Like it was definitely a weird experience, definitely.
Was there a situation where you and Cassie was having sex and he kind of like put his ass in your face or something like that?
Yes, that's the same encounter we was talking about in the SLS hotel. So he asked me if I'm gay, and I curse him out. No, get out of here. He gives me the money. I'm thinking it's over. A couple of minutes later, they called me into the bedroom for the encounter. Now, the way it always is, and this is why I believed for a long time he probably was bisexual, is he would position me so he could watch me jerk off. Like, my whole penis had to be in view. If I turned my body and he couldn't see the whole penis, he would tell me to turn more this way. Literally. Like, oh, you got to turn more this way. So eventually I started catching this guy wants to see me jerk off. That really bothered the hell out of me. Of course, this is why I drank and I did drugs during it, because then I wouldn't really pay attention. I would just be looking at this beautiful woman because of the ecstasy in my system. I want to have sex with her. So I'm sitting there looking at her. She's masturbating. She looks great sitting there masturbating. All of a sudden, he jumps up and says, I want to eat a pussy. This had been 2015, 16. I had been with him 6, 7 years. I had never seen him eat a pussy. Never. Never seen him run down there like he had to service her. He only really wanted to have sex with her kind of in competition with me because I would slay it. He would get, like, I guess, horny or want to prove he could do better, so he would try to run and do better than me after. None of that ever worked. But none of that really worked. This is why the domestic violence would start. He would try, he would catch her laughing, and he would hit her because he caught her laughing, looking at me because he was trying to slay it better than me. Swear to God. And I told the prosecutors this. Diddy was, so he jumps on the bed, and he's eating her out, but as he's eating her out, he's positioning his asshole right in front of me. So, at first I'm not really thinking about it. I just moved to the right. I'm thinking he's into it, he's high, maybe a pussy tastes good. So he's just so absorbed, but then here's the weird part, Vlad, he scooted over to the right, back in my front of my line of view, because I'm trying to watch her vagina. I got to sit here and jerk off. I should at least be looking at vagina. I'm not trying to look at this guy. So when he did it again, I'm like, what the fuck? So I moved back to the left side of the room. So now we got 1 move, 2 move. He follows me back this way. So I said, all right. So immediately I go back to the other side of the bed. When I saw him scooting back the other way, I said, yo, what the fuck is you doing, man? And he stopped immediately. I said, yo, bro, why you keep moving in my view? Like, I'm trying to watch her play with herself. You all over the bed. He looked at me like I was stupid. He was like, oh, my bad, player. And he got up, sat back in the chair, and said, y'all could do your thing. She says, come here. That's what I was waiting for the whole time. So I go to jump into the vagina, get in the vagina. She and I start going. He stops us right in the middle. Yo, give us a second. All right, kicks me out the room. I go into the other room, blue balled, I was ready to fuck, so I'm in the other room. I actually tried to squeeze one out in the corner. I was so horny while they wasn't watching in the other room, but she came out and caught me. Broke out laughing. She catches me jerking off, trying to get it out. She says, yo, you gotta go. What happened? And she says, listen, don't worry about it. But as she's walking me to the door, she says, yo, you're dope, you passed. What are you talking about? She's like, you passed, you're dope. She gives me a big hug. She passes me some money. She says, listen, we got to go do this show. We'll be back tonight. We'll call you back tonight. They call me, I want to say 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I go back to have sex with her in the room. I think I stayed there until sometime the next evening. They never mentioned a word about it. I never heard about it again.
In the moment that Diddy said, are you into men? If you had said yes, what do you think would have happened?
I don't know, because I've never imagined saying yes. I've never actually thought about what if I had said yes, because it was a 100 undeniable no.
No, I get it. I'm not saying you should say yes. I'm just wondering, based on the vibe, what did you anticipate Diddy saying?
Well,
after that,
if I think about it now with what I know,
yeah,
he probably, and what he did, I believe that he was trying to get me to fuck him. I think what he did was I think he put his asshole in front of her vagina because he told me to stand there and keep jerking off and watching her vagina. But like I'm telling you, he kept blocking her vagina with his asshole. So I think what he was actually trying to do was get me to correlate his asshole with her vagina by putting himself in front of me every time I was whacking off. I know, man. I know. Okay. I want to be fair to him, though, because I don't want to, like, he's been through a lot. So I don't want to put a label on this man that he don't deserve, but I was there, Vlad. I know what he did. I know how it happened, and I know this is what he was intended to do. He was trying to manipulate, because it makes no sense. Why would you keep putting your butthole in front of a man that you're telling to watch your girl jerk off? Watch your girl play with herself.
I mean, look, you rub dudes cum on your nipples, so you really can't get mad at any gay accusation for the rest of your life. I mean, no Diddy has become the new slang for no homo or pause.
Yo, he's the new face of domestic violence. He's Diddy Turner.
Yeah.
He's Diddy Turner. He has totally replaced Ike Turner.
Well, almost like a gay Diddy Turner. I mean,
yes.
Like you got to have a whole new classification for him. I mean, listen,
the semen
it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. Okay, so 2018, Diddy and Cassie break up.
Yes.
And so now you're not seeing Cassie on your own or anything else like that. She moves on. She, gets with Alex Fine. And they start their relationship. She, gets pregnant at some point, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the next year, Diddy actually contacts you for another freak off, but you don't know who it's for.
Yes.
But you end up not making it.
I did make it. I went all the way to Miami. I met him.
Wait, hold on. Okay. So what happened when you showed up to this?
Showed up. I met him in his hotel room. I can't remember the hotel we were in, but I go to the hotel. I meet him in the hotel. He's like, yo. He's like, listen, I got a girl coming in. She's coming in tonight. When you get here, just be ready. I'm going to call you back. He gives me a little bit of money. He tells me to go, go on Collins, do what I'm going to do, get some lunch, do whatever. I said, all right, cool. I'll leave. I run into this girl that I used to date. So I see her. Truth is, I kind of knew it wasn't Cassie at this point. I wasn't actually like into the whole male entertainment, male provider thing anyway. So I really didn't want to see another person. I'm like, all right, at least this woman, I kind of know her. I got a history with her. Shit has already happened. So if I got to do this, I could throw a condom on, slut her out, go home. Somebody new, I don't know who that is. So the girl who I had been previously dating was from Vegas, but she was drop dead beautiful. Wasn't really much of a no-brainer to sleep with her when she made it apparent that that's what she wanted to do after 3 or 4 years seeing her. But I didn't plan on staying the whole night. I had only planned on sleeping with her once or twice and then trying to catch up with Diddy because he did finance the trip for me to go there. However, it ended up lasting all night. Totally forgot about Diddy. When I realized about Diddy the next morning, oh shit, I looked at my phone. I had dozens of missed texts and calls. Like, he was pissed. So I called him up. He's like, yo, where you was at, man? This is some bullshit. I said, listen, I ran into my ex. I said, I'll show you when I get to you. You probably would have did the same thing if you was me. Maybe you wouldn't, but I said, bro, simple manly mistake. No big deal. I didn't flake on you. He says, nah, fuck that. Come to my suite right now. So now I'm ordered by Diddy to come to a suite right now. I'm like, shit. So the girl is still in the room, the girl I was dating. And she's like, yo, who's that talking to you like that? Since when you start letting motherfuckers talk to you like that? So I said, that's fucking Diddy. She said, yeah, right. Stop playing. I said, no, that's Diddy. She said, Diddy, Sean Combs Diddy. She said, what the fuck is he cursing at you like that for? I said, well, the reason I'm in Miami is because I kind of flew here to sleep with his girlfriend. And I fucked that up last night sleeping with you. So he's pissed off. She said, stop lying. I show her my phone. She's reading the text, and she's like, yo, this could be anybody. Diddy called me again. He's pissed. He says, yo, did you leave your room late? I got him on speaker. I said, no. He said, yo, I told you to come right now. I said, damn, what you gonna do, beat me up if I don't come right now? Can I put my shit on? He said, yo, just come right now. Come right now. I said, all right, I'll be there in a second. So I hang up. Now she hears the voice. She knows it's Diddy. She said, oh, shit, you really are here for Diddy. Yo, can I come meet him? Hell no, you can't come meet him. You crazy? I'm not letting Diddy take my girl, but it gets better, Vlad. Oh, it gets better. So now I go upstairs to him. I walk in the room, he pressed me. Yo, man, I feel this is messed up. Like, I looked out, I flew you out here, and now you're going to go and you're going to try to play yourself for some girl. I said, nah. So I showed him a picture of it. He said, damn. He said, you fucking her? I was like, yeah. He was like, yo, you think she be down? First, I thought about it. I'm not going to lie. Instantly, I knew better. I said, nah, she's a good Christian girl. She not with it. He said, come on, man. Anybody with it for money. I thought to myself, dude, if you bring this chick here, you will never see her again. She's the girl. If she met Diddy had paid, I would never see this chick again.
Right.
And I'm petty. I don't got Diddy money. Diddy ain't taking my girl. Absolutely not. So I lied and I told him no. That was the end of it. That's the last time I saw him.
Okay. So you didn't see him again after that?
No.
Well, but you actually still wanted to get paid for that one situation.
Yeah, he still paid me too.
Right. And Quincy brought you the money?
Quincy brought me the money.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's his adopted son.
Yeah.
It's, I'll be sure it's biological son.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how he uses his kids to kind of,
But Quincy, to fairness to Quincy, he probably didn't know. He probably said, yo, just go bring this to this dude at the hotel. He probably worked. He probably didn't know because when he came to the door, Quincy was cool. He passed me the money, and at first I didn't recognize him, but the girl recognized him. She said, oh, shit, Quincy. And I looked, I said, Quincy, and then I thought of the movie Philadelphia. I said, oh, shit, that is him. I said, how you doing, man? He said, what's up? He passed the money, and he walked right away. He wasn't trying to make no small talk, nothing. So I didn't, let her do the whole groupie shit. I would let him go.
Well, that was 2019. So 4 years passed, and you have no contact with Diddy or Cassie?
No contact with him.
But then in 2023, Cassie files her lawsuit.
Yes.
Are you mentioned in that lawsuit?
No, she just says that she was made to sleep with male entertainers, and she talked about the domestic violence.
Okay. You read through it?
Yes.
What did you think?
Well, I didn't read through it at the time. A friend of mine who's like a celebrity private eye called me. He was like, yo, because he knew about the encounters. He said, yo, that girl that you was fucking all those years, she just sued Diddy for a whole bunch of abuse and all of this other stuff. I said, really? He said, yeah, you should look into it. So from what I was hearing from the papers, I heard what she was claiming, and I said, you know something? I wanted to help her, truthfully, because I knew he had beat her ass. I didn't know the extent of what she was saying with regard to I heard about the male entertainers, but I will say that I didn't discount her to think that he might have made her do this with other people, even though I knew that she hadn't done it with me. So I actually reached out to her law firm. I believe it was the Wigdor. I reached out to him and I said, hey, listen, I know about this. I was one of the guys involved. He did beat her ass. I saw a lot of it. If she needs somebody to support the allegations, I'll help her. And that was just being genuine. It was no hatred towards Diddy. It was the truth is because I knew how long I was involved with them. I knew that there was no way I wouldn't be involved in a lawsuit or a civil action. The attorneys told me, you know what? Thank you for reaching out so much. Yes, we know who you are. Would you mind talking to the U.S. Attorney or Homeland Security? And I said, yeah, I guess, but I didn't actually think they were going to call me at the time, Vlad. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Man, 7 days later, I'm in Manhattan walking out this building, and this Homeland Security agent named Sean, I'll never forget it. He says, Mr. Howard, who the hell are you? Hey, I'm Agent Sean from Homeland Security. Where the hell did you come from? We're not after you. Don't worry. We just need to know about Cassandra Ventura. Okay. And that starts the bullshit.
Okay, so now you're talking to the feds.
Yes.
Now, you spoke to a law firm, Douglas Wigmore?
Correct.
About filing a civil lawsuit against Cassie.
Yes, originally, yes.
What did they tell you?
No, actually, when I talked to the Wigdor firm, I talked about suing. I wanted to file a suit. I didn't tell them if it was against Cassie and Diddy. I told them I wanted to seek an action. But they never even asked me who I wanted to sue. So I would say once Homeland Security contacted me, civil action wasn't even on my mind. Maybe for 6 months until Blackburn came into the picture. What?
Okay. So you're talking to the feds, and then Blackburn, the lawyer, speaks to you.
Yes.
And what do they say?
Well, Blackburn comes into effect because I think I might have been telling you I had a situation going on where I was maliciously prosecuted by state prosecutors. I managed to totally extricate myself from the situation, get the charges dismissed, and then I needed an attorney to help me sue the city of New York for these repeated civil rights violations. This is where Blackburn came in. I found Blackburn through a Google search. I think I talked to him on the phone. I told him what happened. I sent him some documents. He says, oh shit, they did violate your civil rights. You got a claim. So he agrees to give me a retainer to sue the city of New York for numerous civil rights violations inflicted on me by my jealous, crazy ex-girlfriend. He files this civil suit. He and I get cool, attorney-client over the time, building a relationship, talking for the lawsuit. He tells me about Little Rod during one conversation. I said, wow, I'm kind of involved in that situation. Homeland Security's been interviewing me for 6 months. He said, what? Why? So as I told him the story, he said, get the fuck out of here. You were sleeping with Cassie 8 years? I said, yeah. He said, you got to tell me everything that happened right now. So for 3 hours, he and I sit on the phone. I tell him everything. Basically, I told the feds about the sexual assault, about the STD, about the fact that I saw the domestic violence. And he says, you got a civil claim. I said, I thought I did. He says, no, you did. Basically, what she did to you by forcing herself on you on her menstrual cycle is a sexual assault. He sends me a bunch of stuff in his email to verify it where a woman doing that to a man without a man's consent or knowledge could be considered a sexual assault. He says you got another action because, you know, they violated you and they coerced you and they manipulated you. They sex trafficked you. I didn't really realize all of this until after Blackburn, because the U.S. Attorney's Office never said shit. The attorneys they assigned to me never told me that I had a right as a victim, anything. But Blackburn is the one who showed me actual case law. You have a case against them. So now I go back to the U.S. Attorney, and obviously I'm not happy. Hey, I told you all this stuff. Why didn't you tell me that I have a victim claim? Why are you guys just been calling me a witness? No, Mr. Howard, you are. You're a witness too. You're a witness and a victim. That's how we classify you. So for the next year, Vlad, they tell me I'm a victim witness of the U.S. Attorney's Office and that this is what they're going to do. And they stop me for a year and a half. They don't directly stop me, because prosecutors are not like that. They're a lot more subtle. What they do is they lean on the attorneys by asking the attorneys for things. And my attorneys started talking to the U.S. Attorney's Office without me. They would have phone conversations, emails. I don't know what the hell is going on between these attorneys. So now several times I was supposed to sue Cassie, and Blackburn actually directly lied to me and told me he was doing the complaint, and then would duck me for 2 or 3 months while I'm asking him, hey, what's up with the complaint? What's going on? Oh, don't worry about it. I'll call you tonight. Never give me a call. I got my own things going on legally that I'm litigating, so I'm not really thinking about the Cassie aspect, because again, I'm with the U.S. Attorney's Office. I'm thinking my government cares about my victim rights. Completely bogus. We get to February of this year. I directly order Blackburn to file the case, thinking that I have a claim under the Gender Motivated Violence Act. Turns out later I found out I didn't. But once I did this, Blackburn, sends the first demand letter to Douglas Wigdor. Now, you would think that if Cassie was being lied on and the things I was saying weren't true, Douglas Wigdor would have told Tyrone to go straight to hell. That's not what he did. What he did was reach out to the U.S. Attorney's Office so they would call Tyrone and stop him from filing that suit because it jeopardized the prosecution. And this is what Tyrone Blackburn told me directly. I wouldn't have believed him. But when I go to the U.S. Attorney's Office 2 weeks later, they tell me that if I file a civil suit on Cassie, it's going to create a shit show. Really? But they swear they never said anything to Tyrone Blackburn. Fast forward 2 months later. May 2nd, myself and Tyrone Blackburn, after I fired the attorneys that the prosecutors gave me, realizing that they're complete scumbags who were just trying to protect the government's case, I fire them. Now I go with Blackburn. I'll be honest, he's black. I think, he's black. He's going to look out for another brother. Bring Tyrone Blackburn. Tyrone goes into the U.S. Attorney's Office, and he directly tells Maureen Comey, I was going to sue Cassandra. Remember, you guys asked me to use the L.A. thing. And she just goes like this. So that means the entire time he was telling the truth. The U.S. Attorney's Office talked to him not to file against Cassie. So this is why no one ever heard about the claims from Cassie, because the attorneys were working behind the scenes to keep me quiet so I wouldn't expose her.
Well, Cassie files the lawsuit. Less than 24 hours later, Diddy settles with her.
Yes.
For what we now know is $20 million.
Yes.
A bunch of other lawsuits get filed by the homie Tony Busby, who I went at it with.
Excellent conversation. Excellent conversation. You hit the nail on the head with that one.
Thank you, because you have 100 victims who you claim are all drugged and raped by Diddy. One of which claimed that Diddy and Jay-Z raped her when she was 13.
Yeah.
Which has absolutely no evidence on any level, including her own father says it's nonsense. So, I had to let him have it on live television. And as we're kind of dealing with all these crazy allegations, Diddy makes a post saying all these claims are false. I'll protect the name of my family. This is all just completely untrue. But then the hotel video leaks. When you saw that, was that similar to the domestic violence situations that you witnessed?
Absolutely. I saw her run out of several hotel rooms.
Really?
Yeah. The London, the Essex house, all because of the domestic violence. The most distinct time I remember of her exiting a hotel room, I think we were at the London. I walk in, like I had been seeing her for years at this point. So I walk in, she's happy, she gives me a hug, brings me into the suite. You want a drink? Yeah, sure, you can make me a drink. She had made me 100 drinks at this point. Diddy walks into her room, he says, what's up? What's up? He's on his phone. He says, yo, what you doing? She says, I'm making him a drink. He said, yo, don't make him no fucking drink. He walked out the room. So she kind of looked at me, I looked at her, and we laughed. We thought he was playing. It's been years. She made me 1,000 drinks. What's the problem? So she finishes making the drink. She blew him off. She gives me the drink. I take the drink. I'm drinking the drink. I'm taking off my jacket. He comes back into the living room. He sees me drinking the drink. He says, yo, where you get that from? She said, I gave him the drink. He said, didn't I tell you not to give him the drink? She's like, stop playing. He said, yo, come in the room. She's like, all right. She rolls her eyes like, all right, whatever. So she comes to me. She says, we'll be right back. And I thought it was weird, but I didn't get involved. Again, that's his woman. I'm just a hired gun. Let them do their thing. It took maybe, I want to say, a couple of seconds. I heard glasses hit the floor. Oh, my God, you kicked me? It sounded like they were tussling, and then I just saw the light of the suite open and someone run out the door. So naturally, I go to see what's going on, and I run in there. I see the glass on the floor. Cassie's not there. He's like banging on the wall because I guess he's pissed off. And I say, yo, what happened? He's like, yo, she don't fucking listen. I say, yo, dude, you keep hitting that chick, you're going to end up in jail. What the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Which is ironic that that's exactly what happened 10 years later.
Right.
Like, I literally used to tell this guy every time he hit her, I'm not going to say like I was able to physically or physically impose my size on Diddy, or he was scared of me physically. Diddy's one, he's not a bitch. He's not a bitch at all. He is a man. He will fight you. I saw that many times looking at his eyes, that if I had hit him, he would have fought me back. But the thing about him is he's more the type of person where his ego gets involved. And I guess her passing me the drink, she felt like he was he felt like she was challenging his authority or whatever. So the only way he knows how to impose his will on his women is with money or violence. So he hits her. She runs out the room. He tells me to put on my clothes, and he and I go start looking for her through the staircase of the London Hotel in New York. Maybe 15 minutes, I'm going from floor to floor. My phone rings. He says, yo, you don't have no guest rights here. You have no key. Take your ass back to the suite. I'm going to find her. The last thing we need for them to do is find her out in the hallway and find you. So I go back to room 5001. That was the room I usually always met them at. And I wait there until Diddy and Cassie come back. I want to say 30 minutes later, they both walk in the room. She comes directly to me, tells me she okay. They're going to talk in the living room. They'll be fine. I mean, in the bedroom, they'll be fine. I say, oh, yeah, you sure you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. We're going to go talk in the bedroom. He comes, daps me, yo, thank you for coming back. Thank you, yo, you was right. Let me just go take care of this. Now, they go in the room. They had me waiting in that room, in the living room, maybe an hour. But when they came out, good as gold, like nothing happened. And that was the typical thing with them. They would go through their domestic shit, go in the room, talk quietly, never any violence. I never heard her crying or being beaten up in the room to go into compliance. It was usually no noise out the room, or if there was noise, you could hear they were mutually talking, not him, la da 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 da, or her saying, no, no, no. They were just having a conversation. Then she would come out the room, and it would be like nothing happened. So I've never seen her try to run out of a freak off, no.
Well, as all this is happening, the hotel tape gets leaked. A grand jury starts to happen behind the scenes. Now, you're already talking to the feds. So are you included in the grand jury?
Yes, I appeared in the grand jury, I want to say in March of this year.
Okay.
I was before the grand jury.
And what were they asking?
Prosecutors are funny because the way they ask you questions, you can only answer those questions. So I remember at one point when I was being interviewed, they asked me about the abuse, about Diddy making me stand and masturbate for hours. But I can't remember exactly how Maureen Comey asked me this question. But the answer to the question was Cassandra. And I answered Cassandra, and the look on her face, like, motherfucker, you better change that answer. But I stood my ground like, no, it was Cassie. So Emily Johnson, the other one with the blonde hair, she whispers something to her, and Emily rephases the question. And I think the question was, had I ever been alone with Cassie? And I said, I had. Well, the question was, had Cassie ever contacted me without Diddy's consent? And she had. For like a year, she was texting me behind Diddy's back. He found out and he pressed me. So I said, yeah, she did. This is what happened. Maureen changes it to you. Did you ever meet with her without Diddy? No, I didn't. And that was the end of the question. So they had me in there, I want to say, in the grand jury for maybe an hour or two. They basically asked me about the transportation to LA, Miami, the different hotels that I saw them in. And I saw them in probably 30 different hotels. Did Diddy ever directly put money in my hand? Yes, he did. Did he ever directly coordinate your transportation out of New York? Did he contact you during the course of transportation? Yes, he did. All of these things he did. The problem with me is that I had too much evidence against Cassie. If I had testified against Diddy, he'd be spending the rest of his life in jail.
Well, as the grand jury is doing its thing, Diddy's homes get raided.
Yes.
Then you start to see that this thing is real.
Yeah.
And then Diddy gets arrested. Were you surprised?
I was actually really surprised when he got arrested. I didn't think he was going to get arrested. I thought he came here. I thought they were going to let him turn himself in. He would have got bail and been able to fight the case. But when they arrested him by just snatching him off the street, yeah, I was really surprised.
And he got no bail.
I was really surprised he got the no bail. But no, I wasn't surprised once he got arrested, he got no bail, because the way they arrested him, I said, okay, he's not getting out of jail. They have this guy looking like a monster right now. He's an abuser. He's raping men. He's raping kids. He's drugging people. Which really wasn't fair to him, honestly, from a legal standpoint, because they totally decimated his public image, making everyone think he did these things, and none of it came out during the trial.
Right, because this year the trial starts, and you're not being asked to be a witness.
I was there May 2nd. I was supposed to go in the next week for trial prep. Never heard from him again.
Because you actually are part of interstate prostitution.
Yes.
Whereas Punisher was not. He was always local.
Yes.
Daniel Phillip, who we just had, was not. He was always local. You are an example of one of his charges.
Yes.
Do you feel like you were sex trafficked?
Absolutely. Now that I know what was going on, totally. And this is the main premise of why I'm suing him. This was a massive multi-state, decade-long sex trafficking ring. I didn't know about the Punisher. The Punisher didn't know about me. Me and Daniel Phillip met each other once, but they told me they fired him. I didn't know about Jules Theodore. I didn't know about the white guy, Sean. Cassie slept with 36 men, multiple states. None of us knew about this, and she was giving out diseases. So how is this not something that's a grander scheme, and she's not complicit? So yeah, I was a big part of this.
Well, the trial progresses, and you're starting to see everyone take the stand and so forth. Was there any sort of shocking moments for you?
The semen on the nipple thing was shocking for me.
That got shocking for everybody.
That got me. I was like, damn, that's what he used to do? Because again, I'm the guy who he collected semen from for years. Yeah. I never knew what they were doing with the semen.
Some of it probably ended up on his nipples.
So I was like, damn, that's where my semen went. So maybe it's magical powers in my semen. I don't know. Maybe this is what was attributed to the success of Puff Daddy.
He was doing, I don't know about that one.
They said he was into all this black magic and stuff. So I'm like, damn, maybe it's a ritual or something. And rubbing semen on his nipples and the universe gives him energy and success. Who knows what the hell he was really doing with it? I don't know. But a couple of things really surprised me. Cassie's testimony is what really got me.
How so?
At first, I didn't listen to it, Vlad, because the prosecutors told me not to listen to it. I thought I was testifying. So to conform with the prosecutors, not be influenced by anything, I was not watching the trial. But several people, once they said my name, because they subpoenaed my book, my family starts calling me. Yo, I'm watching this Diddy trial. Why the hell are they saying Clayton Howard? I don't know. I lied. My grandmother calls me, and she said, boy, don't lie to me. I was watching this damn TV, and they keep talking about Clayton Howard. There ain't that many Clayton Howards in the world. Are you involved in this trial? So I had to tell my grandmother the truth. I said, yeah. She said, what happened? So I'm telling her. And she says, well, you know something? If you could do the right thing and help this girl out, because this man done did all of this stuff. And I'm listening to my grandmother, like, totally decimate Diddy's character. And I'm thinking to myself, you know something, Grandma? A lot of this stuff that they saying this man was into, I ain't never seen. But I didn't really say anything to her. What I did was decide, you know what? I'm going to actually listen to this girl's testimony. Because my grandmother kept talking about her getting urinated in her mouth and all of this other stuff. And I was like, really? She used to tongue kiss me. That's gross, Vlad. That's nasty. I'm pissy mouth Clay. I'm the guy who was tongue kissing this girl who began pissed in her mouth by all of these other people. So I listened to the testimony, and this is what bothered me. When I heard her lie about that overdose, when I heard her lie about the unprotected sex, and there was one more thing she lied about I can't recall off the top of my head, and I know this specifically because she was talking about me. I immediately called Tyrone Blackburn, and I said, yo, dude, she's lying. She said, oh, and about that Diddy made her have sex with male escorts on her period. I knew Diddy didn't make her have sex with me on her period. So when I heard this, I said to Tyrone Blackburn, I said, yo, man, she just lied. What are we going to do? He says, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Let the prosecutors take care of it. But I said, listen, if I'm suing her for doing this to me and she's blaming it on Diddy, doesn't that give her a defense in the civil suit? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You know, once he's convicted of the RICO, everybody's convictions are going to go through from the collateral connection. Don't worry about it. So he's relying on the RICO, not even on the fact that this woman is lying on the stand. Luckily for me, once I realized Maureen Comey was lying to me, I had the brilliant idea to just write everything I told her down in a book. So I started writing a book about Cassie. And when I went on May 2nd and Maureen Comey found out about this book and found out it was everything I had been telling them for months, this is when they kind of pulled the plug on me, told me that they didn't want to stress me out anymore, and they were going to try to see if they could work around me. Daniel Phillip, The Punisher, no Clayton Howard.
Well, the trial progresses, and it gets to the end. It goes to the jury, and I had predicted this. If you watch an interview I did from a couple days before the verdict, I said he's going to beat the RICO. He is going to beat the sex trafficking. He might get hit with a prostitution charge, but that has no mandatory minimum, and it'll probably be a slap on the wrist. Everyone got mad at me, but that's exactly what happened. Were you surprised at the verdict?
No, because I knew that Jane and Cassie weren't the real victims. I knew it the whole time. I had been telling the U.S. Attorney's Office this. So the more I watched the trial, and honestly, I'm trying to pursue a legal career myself. His attorneys did an amazing job. They tore every one of those witnesses apart. They proved that they all had motives to lie on him. And I think that they did a good job exposing the lies of the U.S. Attorney's Office and how they tried to fabricate the narrative of this prosecution. So once I realized that the women, because I saw Jane, I wasn't really concerned with Cassie, but Jane was the one who I thought could possibly be a victim of sex trafficking. I knew Cassie wasn't. Once I knew her case, I said, she's lying. She got beat, but she was totally with these freak-offs. She was his ride-or-die chick for all those 8 years. They did this. Cassie and Diddy and freak-offs were like Mark Antony and Cleopatra in an Egyptian pyramid smoking opium and fucking African slaves. This is what a freak-off really was. They'd have platters of fruit, baby oil, and I would be made to sit to the side while they talked cuddle. When Cassie wanted the big black penis, she would say, come here, sugar dick, and that's what I'd be called. Literally, this is what a freak-off was. Cassie was completely complicit. Jane, I didn't know about.
Well, I interviewed Don the dealer, who basically was the first instance of the freak off, and she actually talked about him on the stand, and he essentially said the exact same story, and he said that she was totally into it. She would giggle and clap when he was describing what it's like, and they had like dozens of freak offs, and at no point was she anything but enthusiastic. In fact, unlike Cassie, who he had been with as well, she began to just run the show. She would pick out the underwear, and she would tell Diddy what they're going to do and tell him to be quiet because she was into it and so forth. So, yeah, I'm looking at this going like, where's the victim? I don't see any victims. I see girls who are agreeing to do these things sexually and so forth. And the whole thing of, well, if you don't want to do this, I'm going to stop paying your rent. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. This is
like,
choice.
I have to keep paying your rent if you and I are not sexually compatible anymore? Like, that doesn't make any sense. That's not extortion, or that's not bullying. That's just saying, okay, I'll give you 3 more months, but you got to figure it out.
Exactly.
So, it finally came through. Although he didn't win, he beat all the serious charges.
Yes.
Now, the thing that bothers me a little bit, and I've talked about this before, is Cassie, for all intents and purposes, has won.
She has.
She's the biggest winner in this entire situation. $20 million from Diddy, $10 million from the Intercontinental. She put Diddy in jail. No, Diddy is the synonym for being gay right now.
Yes, it is.
He lost hundreds of millions of dollars in business endorsements and various other business ventures. He may go to prison for up to 10 years, actually up to 20 years. If you think about it, 2 charges, they could run concurrently. And after all that, she still writes a letter to the judge and says, I don't want him to come out before sentencing because I'm scared. You got $30 million.
Yeah.
You could hire a whole army battalion to protect you.
True.
In fact, I think Diddy's way more scared of you than you are of him.
Totally.
Because you've hurt him more than anybody.
Yes.
You said something interesting. You said, in the world of vengeful exes, Cassie is the heavyweight champion of the world.
Cassie is Cassavelli.
Cassavelli.
If she came out with another album,
Cassavelli.
It should be Cassavelli, the last OG, whatever. Because Cassie this was a masterful hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. She double did. And see, this is why she messed up. She won when she got the money. She should have took that money And she should have moved to fucking Europe.
48 laws of power.
Yes.
Once you win, you stop. Listen
Know
to me.
when to stop.
Look. Once me and you go at it and there's a lawsuit and I win, that's it. That's it. I don't have any more animosity towards you. If they want to have me continue to do it, I'm going to be unavailable. I'm going to be whatever. But no, Cassie took the stand, trashed him on the stand, and then wrote a letter for him not to be out for a couple of months.
Yep.
I just think it's nasty work.
It's nasty work.
Nasty work.
And it compels me even more to be the one to seek justice against her, because somebody has to do it.
Right.
She manipulated dozens of men. Okay, some of those men may feel they don't have claims. They may still be so infatuated with her that they're not making the connection. This guy makes the connection. I didn't know about these other guys. And if I didn't know about these guys and you were flying me all over the state based on the same thing you just did to Sean Combs, you're a co-conspirator. So if the government won't grant me my right as a legitimate victim of this cribbo conspiracy to hold you accountable, you know who will let me? The civil courts. And that's the only remedy for a private citizen when the prosecutors won't help you, is the civil court. So this is why I sued her. I can prove she was a part of this conspiracy. Hell, she basically confessed to it on the stand. Why would no one want to hold her accountable for it and still support her like she's a victim, knowing she manipulated dozens of men?
Well, look, I have tweets going back months that basically are saying, now that Cassie got the bag, you're going to see the male escort sue her.
Yeah.
And people are like, that's ridiculous. You know, that's never going to happen and so forth. I said, just watch. Just watch. Just watch. I predicted this as well.
Yes.
So when you announced that you're suing her, I said, told you. Told you. Now, how much are you suing? Well, you're suing both Diddy and Cassie.
Yeah, because I have to sue Diddy.
Okay, for how much?
Well,
how much are you asking for?
I didn't ask for anything yet. I didn't put an amount yet. The truth is, I didn't.
Have you filed a lawsuit?
Yeah, I filed a lawsuit.
Isn't there an amount that is due with the lawsuit?
It's a jury trial, so what I did was ask for the damages based on what the jury decided. Yeah, because when you file those type of charges and you ask for a jury demand, you can have the jury set the amount you wanted.
Ooh.
And I had no intention on litigating it. I just know how to file a lawsuit because I'm in law school, so I drafted the complaint, let it go out there. It's a really good complaint. I knew the attorneys would come running, and they did. And I got a good attorney to represent me. I've sent them some demand letter for some significant amounts. And I'm hoping she just settles this so I don't have to embarrass her by bringing other male escorts to testify against her in my civil case, because I will do it.
Okay, so her lawyers are now talking to your lawyers.
They should be. I believe this is the week they made contact with each other.
Okay, and are Diddy's lawyers talking to your lawyers?
I believe so, yes.
But unlike all the Busby lawsuits that I'm familiar with, this is actually based on a fact.
Yes.
Because, like I pointed out, I think the majority, if not all of Busby's victims, probably had very little interaction with Diddy, if any at all.
Yes.
Like that one girl, which I'm sure never even met Diddy.
Yeah.
Or Jay-Z for that matter.
Yeah.
Her own dad said there's no way they could have this never even happened.
Yeah. And see, here's the thing. The civil attorneys, and I don't really want to talk down on them because you get it. They're businessmen, they're businesswomen. They're just trying to make cases for themselves. But a lot of them have abused this case because Diddy was a bag. Diddy's a check. All the allegations against him, they were all relying on him being convicted of that RICO because of the collateral connection. Now I think they all got a shitload of trouble because he beat the RICO conviction. You were all relying on the RICO conviction. So I think a lot of those civil suits, I think he's going to win them. I think a lot of the homosexual allegations of him raping men, they're going to be dismissed. I was around this guy for 8 years. He directly asked me if I was into men. He didn't rape me. He drugged me. He let me go. He never tried to force himself on me, and I can confidently say as a man, if he didn't do that to me, I seriously doubt he did it to anyone else because he drugged me. Why would he run around and drug all of these men? It just doesn't, me being around him for almost a decade, I do not see that in his character. I don't see him raping anyone. If he had sex with these men, they gave up the booty.
I mean, look, I've been around Diddy. You know, I've told the story how Diddy tried to buy my jacket off me. I could churn that story into, and then he made me suck his dick. Like, you know, I mean, something stupid like that. There's literally a lawsuit like that.
Yeah.
A guy that claimed in the back of a Macy's store, Diddy made him suck his dick while bodyguards stood around and watched. I mean, I know some of his bodyguards. These guys would not sit around while
At all.
Diddy's getting his dick sucked by a man. Like, I can tell you that Roger Bonds definitely would not have gone.
I was just thinking about him. I was like, that dude don't seem like he would have sit there while Diddy's getting head by a man.
Exactly. How much time should Diddy get in your eyes? Because he's still waiting to be sentenced.
Truthfully, I think Diddy should be able to go home.
Time served.
Yeah. This was a malicious prosecution.
I agree.
People are going to hate me for saying it. Vlad, I went so far. I wrote President Trump a letter. I wrote Pam Bondi. I wrote Kash Patel. And I wrote Judge Samaranian. This guy was maliciously prosecuted. Okay, he was guilty. He did a lot of this stuff. But if the government did not prosecute him right, if they falsified this narrative, if they fabricated and withheld information about the alleged victims, he was maliciously prosecuted. He should not do a day if Cassie's not going to suffer, if Jane is not going to suffer. They should let him go. They clipped him for half his fortune. I think Diddy would get out of jail and he would totally restructure his life and never let himself get caught in no dumb shit like this again.
I don't know about
He's
that
not a
part.
danger.
I don't know about that.
I don't think he would.
Diddy would get back to the freak-offs. I just think he'd be way more careful now.
Yes.
I think he would possibly, hire female sex workers to go along with some of these situations. And, generally female sex workers understand that privacy is part of, their job. And they're not looking to just kind of churn around and do it. But then again, someone like Diddy, you never know.
Oh, you mean instead of his girlfriends?
Instead of girlfriends. Instead of getting like these girls that he's churning out, to actually get girls that are cool with all this.
And that's what he's doing. He's just turning girls out. He turned out Cassie. Yeah. No disrespect to 50. He turned out 50 baby moms. That's
although I heard some interesting stories about her beforehand.
Beforehand, okay.
Oh yeah.
But that's not even 50's
I've
fault.
heard a lot of interesting stories.
That's
not 50.
Yeah, it's
like
not
before
50's fault.
50. Yeah.
That's not 50's fault at all.
No, it's not his fault at all. And I'm sure that 50 is, no matter how many jokes he cracks, nobody wants their baby mother.
Exactly.
To be peed in the mouth and doing all types of crazy, cuckold sex.
It's embarrassing because she represents him. So I'm almost, I'm
they
positive.
got a kid together.
He don't want none of that for her.
Exactly.
He didn't know.
Now, do you think that Trump will actually pardon Diddy?
I think if he's over sentenced, I think Trump totally will. Because Trump is familiar with the Eastern District, the Southern District of New York. He's familiar with malicious prosecution.
Yeah.
I think that he will totally pardon Diddy. And I hope he does. I hope if they try to play Diddy, if they want to send him to jail and they want to give him a year, 2 years, 3 years, he got convicted. It's not really much we can say. They fabricated a lot, but he was guilty of it, Vlad. Let's just be honest. They just misrepresented it the wrong way.
I mean, his lawyers say that he is the only man in America who's in jail for hiring male escorts.
He probably is. I can't find one case, because when I heard Mark Aguafidio say it, I looked it up. I can't find one case where a man has been sent to jail for hiring a male escort. One.
Well, yeah, and I've said this. If you really are looking at this whole case and Diddy has been found guilty for prostitution, Cassie should be found guilty for the exact same crime because she facilitated a lot of this.
And she wanted to.
She wanted to. And literally, you're the fifth male escort that has constantly said the same story.
Yeah.
Cassie picked you. These are 5 men saying the same thing, that they were picked by Cassie, contacted by Cassie, paid by Cassie, brought back by Cassie. There was never any sort of coercion. Yes, there was some domestic violence along the way, but not the whole time. And at the end of the day, if this is all you got, the fact that Cassie got immunity to admit to the exact same thing and got $30 million along with it, man, listen, I almost think she got pregnant on purpose so she'd be pregnant on the stand. I almost think that might have even been in vitro, and they probably timed it to the point where she has extra sympathy, the fact that there's pregnant girls on the stand crying.
We're on the same page.
That's what I think, man. I think Cassie's a villain, man. Honestly.
I think she's a villain. We're on the same page.
I think she's the super villain in this whole situation. She manipulated everybody. I mean, even Kid Cudi got on the stand and said, yeah, Cassie was playing both of us. She was playing both me and Diddy.
I think her ultimate aim was to lock Diddy in by doing the sexually depraved stuff that he wanted. And when it didn't work for her and she realized she slutted herself out for years and she got nothing out of it, when she flew back to her mama's house to start staying in her mama's house, and I think watching Young Miami really did it for her. Because Young Miami blew, definitely.
Well, I think it was partly Young Miami and then the baby he had with the Asian girl. And I think if he had just had a baby with Cassie, because she deserved one.
Yeah, she
if
did.
you really think about everything they went through,
Yeah.
the length of the relationship, the fact that he paraded her around publicly and so forth, because sometimes you don't want to have the baby with the side chick, you know, because it's a side chick. You don't really want the world to know about it and so forth.
She was the main chick.
She was the main chick.
Yeah.
She was the main chick. There's really, not any good reason for her not to have a baby with Diddy. Because I remember when Diddy had that baby, it's like this academics tweet went public said Diddy just had a side chick on his side chicks.
I remember that tweet.
To the fact that like Diddy had to make a comment saying, Young Miami is not my side chick, she's my shorty wop. So he's still not your chick though.
Yeah, she's not.
He's still dancing.
He's still
dancing around the topic. So yeah, man, look, at the end of the day, I think that I'm happy with the verdict because, look, man, every rich guy flies girls in.
Yeah.
Because they're busy.
Yes.
Because they can't fly out to Houston or Miami or Atlanta or whatever else. It'd be much easier to just buy a girl, a coach plane ticket, put them up in a hotel, have some fun with them, give them a little bit of money to go shopping, have some dinners, have sex or whatever. But men also have to be careful. Situations like this. At the end of the day, if you're going to fly a girl out, get her own hotel room. So it doesn't look like she's required to sleep with you and have sex with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Be very clear that you guys are just hanging out to hang out. That sex is not required in this situation because you can get caught up in a very bad situation where she can claim that she was sex trafficked.
Quick.
You always want to avoid that situation. And you always want to be nice to women.
Yes.
Never let a woman leave mad.
Oh, no.
Do whatever it takes
to make sure she's
good
when she leaves.
I don't care if you got to humble yourself. I don't care if you got to apologize for some shit that you were not wrong for. I don't care if it's giving her a few extra dollars to just smooth the situation over.
Exactly.
Now you may think it's extortion, but it's a whole lot better than the police showing up.
Yes, it is.
Because let me tell you, I interviewed Tupac's rape accuser, Ayanna Jackson.
Yeah.
And during this interview, I was talking to Tupac's co-defendant, Man. And I said, Man, at the point where she starts accusing Tupac of letting his friends rape her and stuff like that, if he didn't say, get this bitch out of here, instead, if he had pulled her aside, took her into the other room, apologized, kissed her, hugged her, whatever else, maybe taken her out of that place, would none of this have happened? He said none of this would have happened.
Wow.
But the fact that he said, get this bitch out of here, so they got that bitch out of there. She went downstairs looking crazy, disheveled. The hotel people were like, what's going on? And she's like, Tupac raped me. Well, let's call the police. Next thing you know, the police are going upstairs. There's guns in the room. There's a bunch of guys in the room. It's a mess.
Yep.
And, ultimately, that led him down a path that ultimately he died from.
Yeah.
Because he went to prison, then he died, signed a death row. And when you look at this whole situation, all he had to do is be nice to that girl.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, man, these are women.
Yeah.
They have feelings. They're humans. They're not just playthings and toys and stuff like that. And I think that that's the problem that Diddy really had in the long term, is that he did not treat people like people.
He didn't. They definitely disregarded people. And you're right about that. I think as men, sometimes we learn the hard way that we have to be soft with women regardless of the way they treat us. Because I had to learn the hard way. I had to have a woman stalk me and do the things with the police and family court to me for a few years to realize my mistake was dumping her too harshly. If I had dumped her with more finesse, if I had treated her better leaving her, if I hadn't said, hey, crazy, leave me the hell alone, I would have never been through family court, stalked for 4 years, and had to sue the city of New York for civil rights violations. So I definitely agree with you. It's all how you end it with a woman. He could have totally avoided this. If he had realized what Cassie went through him for that 10-year period, she earned $20-30 million. When she told him he wanted, she wanted money.
$20-30 million.
Listen, she earned it.
I don't know about
she
that
did.
amount.
Based on who he was and the damage she could have created, I would have gave her $50 million never to tell any of that. Look who he was. Look how much money he was making.
Well, I think in retrospect, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. If he had just paid her, and probably back then he probably could have gotten away with 5 or 10 before she actually filed the lawsuit. So.
It's kind of funny because when I think about it now, someone asked me like if he got out, because I wrote a letter for him to get bail. Yeah. Oh my God, if he get out, aren't you worried about him coming after you? No. Why? Because I didn't do anything to him. How can he be mad at me? Because the U.S. Attorney's Office came after me and made me cooperate. Yeah. That's not my fault. This is his fault because he didn't clean up his mess.
I don't think Diddy is looking to go after anybody. I
don't
think
think
he's
so.
going to be happy to get his freedom eventually, and he just wants to quietly, do his thing, realizing he's not the same Diddy anymore.
Yeah, and that's going to be the hardest reality
That's gonna be
people
the
don't
hard
understand
part.
for him. Like,
Because he's always been Diddy.
He's
man.
always been Diddy. He's been the man for 30 years.
He didn't calm down in his 40s. He didn't calm down in his 50s. We'll see what his 60s are going to look like, but I don't have high hopes for him turning into a different person.
He might, because he lost the star power. And I think once he realizes it, once the trial and everything's over, it's not going to be the same for him. He's not going to have...
But did he really? Because there's a... You don't think that he's still got a ton of fans, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, but it's different. It's
different because people publicly don't want to stand next to him anymore.
And those were the people who made him who he was. It's the important people he was. Like the low-level people who like him, like, okay, he has the love of the people, obviously.
He'll have some of that, yeah.
The people in front of the trial spraying, the verdict spraying baby oil themselves tells you that the people of Harlem and New York still love Diddy. That was insane.
That's what it is. Clayton Howard, man, appreciate you coming in, and good luck on your lawsuit. Like I said, I think that Cassie deserves to chunk off some of that money.
She does, and let's hope that she's finally held accountable, because the U.S. Attorney's Office wouldn't let her.
That's what it is. Peace.